the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Pella, drive into the lane, throw it for Ballo, slam it home, and he is fouled. Oh, that was beautiful. Just what Umar needed. He'll go to the line. The game is over. The Cats move on to another title. Arizona 88, UCLA 65.
Stop now, cause it's bad boy for life. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't stop.
Yeah, bad cats for life might be the way to put that. Arizona men's basketball, Pac-12 Conference champions for an 18th time as they get ready now for what will be the season finale tonight in Los Angeles at Galen Center against the Southern California Trojans. Bad cats for life, as Diddy and Black Rob sang back in the day. I'm still pretty amazed sometimes that these kids can go back to the old school. I don't know if it's old school, but it's old school for them, for sure, considering how old most of them are. That was early 2000s, maybe even late 90s. You go back to for that song right there, Bad Boys for Life from P. Diddy.
Well, the last good music came from the 90s, right, DK?
That might have been early 2000s, so that might have been around the time some of these kids were born, but I don't know if they were listening to that at that particular time. But yeah, I mean, it's a while ago, for sure. Welcome to the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tipoff Show. We are coming to you once again live in Las Vegas from the MGM Grand Garden Arena. This will be the final program that we have from this location this week, and then we are going to be shifting locales over to the T-Mobile Arena where the men will play their tournament next week. Ladies will wrap up play here in Las Vegas tomorrow. It is going to be a championship game to watch. No upsets in this Pac-12 women's basketball tournament. It'll be the number 1 and the number 2 seeds. The top seed and Pac-12 Conference regular season champion Stanford Cardinal will take on the number 2 seed Southern California Women of Troy. What an unbelievable semifinal. Really, we had 2 great semifinal games yesterday between the Stanford Cardinal and the Oregon State Beavers, and then between USC and UCLA. The rivals went to double overtime last night before the Women of Troy, behind a 30-plus point game from Juju Watkins, emerged victorious by 10 points, 80-70. And after the ball game, Corey Close coming out and saying she believes there are 3 number 1 seeds in the Pac-12 Conference. Stanford, UCLA, and USC are all number 1 seed worthy. You know, interesting, J-Dub, I don't know. We'd have to go back if we've ever had on either side, men or women, 3 number 1 seeds out of the same conference. Have you ever heard of that?
Well, I have to effort that. It doesn't sound – there's been times when obviously certain conferences were really top-heavy.
Yeah.
And you might have seen a couple of top 5 teams. ACC comes to mind, obviously, with Duke, North Carolina. They're always up there. But I'd have to go effort 3 number 1s from the same conference. I'll look into that. How's that?
Yeah, I would think that, on the men's basketball side, the ACC has been so dominant at times that might have been, or even back in the day when the Big East was dominant, that maybe we had potentially 2 to 3 number 1 seeds from maybe. I would think if it ever happened, it probably came out of one of those 2 conferences.
Yeah, that's Big East is actually the first one that came to mind. It's such a long time ago.
Right.
That's what we all grew up on. And Kelvin and I talk about those, Syracuse, Georgetown teams from way back in the day a lot. But yeah, it's got to be one of those top-heavy conferences. I mean, there were even some years when the Big Ten had some a couple of top 5 teams. When you think about like the great Michigan teams and Indiana and so forth, but I'm not sure. I don't remember 3 from the same conference ever.
Yeah, that would be interesting. We'll see if we can effort that information and come up with that for you. All right, we are in again, Las Vegas, and let's tell you what we've got coming up for you over the course of the next 3 hours as we get you set for Arizona and USC in the regular season finale.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
We'll review the win over UCLA, 88-65 on Thursday night at Pauley Pavilion, the final visit for the Wildcats as a Pac-12 team. We'll get you set for this game against USC. They've got their 2 top leading scorers back. Those 2 gentlemen did not play in the first time around back in Tucson. Spotlight on the Cat. We'll hear from Umar Balo. Came up a little bit short on Thursday of tying a school record for double-doubles, consecutive double-doubles. We'll take you around the rest of the Pac-12 as we will know tonight what the seedings are. We know Arizona's going to be the number 1 seed. Who they play will be determined later today. A view from courtside. Reggie Geary is going to join us coming up shortly. We'll chat with Reggie as well and get you your best bets. U of A comes into this ball game as a 7.5-point favorite tonight. We also want to hear from you. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. We are back in our Tuesday location. Because there's no one in the facility today, because there are no games today. There's a day off in the Pac-12 women's basketball tournament between the semifinals and the finals. My understanding is that USC right now, the women of Troy, are practicing down on the main court in preparation for their game tomorrow against the Stanford Cardinal, but no people outside of the teams and some media in the building today here at the Grand Garden Arena. So we are back to our more picturesque setting than just the black phone bank that we've had the last couple of days here. All right, just to take a look back at the win over the UCLA Bruins on Thursday night. I mean, a dominating performance for this Arizona Wildcats club. You heard the celebration there in the locker room with Arizona alum Richard Jefferson leading the "We Ain't Going Nowhere" lyrics after the game. Keyshawn Johnson asked when the Wildcats found out that Wazoo had lost to Washington.
Celebrating the conference title, when did you find out what happened in Washington and know what it all meant and how did that play out?
I found out when last time I got subbed out into the game, probably 4 minutes to the end of the game. Then, that's all we was wanting for. We got PTC mindset, Pac-12 champions mindset.
So you knew during the game, yeah, and anything, what was it like in the locker room after that, or you guys took a water shower, any of that kind of stuff?
It was ecstatic, we champions, we Pac-12 champions. We know the job not done though, but yeah, we had a little good celebration. We still got work to do on the back end going into USC.
Job's not finished. That's for sure, as Kobe said. You heard the celebration. You may have seen the video floating around, Tommy Lloyd getting a nice water bath after the game, and he spoke about Arizona celebrating an 18th Pac-12 Conference championship.
Player's coach, I guess, so I didn't expect that, and, I was assuming that we were going to have to win on Saturday too, but, hey, if the guys want to celebrate it, they earned it, we will definitely, it'll test our maturity for Saturday, but I think we got a mature group with some winners, so I expect them to come out and respond on Saturday.
Did you tell them the Washington State score, or did they?
Somebody must have. Nobody told me until the literally right before the buzzer went off. I think my whole staff was probably looking on their Apple Watches or whatever they do now, and obviously you guys know I'm not a watch guy, so I had no idea. So.
You didn't want to, or you didn't want to know, probably, did you? Or
I mean, listen, it's not going to impact how I'm coaching, but I mean, I was here to win today. I wasn't worried about Washington State.
Tommy Lloyd's like me, J-Dub. I'm not a watch guy either. See, me and Tommy Lloyd got something in common.
Yeah, same. My dad tried to get me to wear a watch when I was like 10, and that was a struggle for a couple weeks, and then I said, nah, this isn't happening. So.
Yeah, I did actually wear watches when I was a kid. I just never, as I got older, it just wasn't something that I really enjoyed having the elements on my wrist and that kind of thing. Arizona just completely dominated this game towards the end of the second side of the first half, and then after the break, walking away pretty impressed with the play of the Wildcats was one UCLA head coach Mick Cronin.
We can't guard Arizona. They're just better than us. They're better than us on the backboard. They're better than us on offense. They're better than us on defense. They're much better than they were last year at all 5 starting positions and the bench. So if a Dem doesn't have a really good game, we have no chance. That's a lot to put on one guy. It's unfair, but that's just our reality. So we went on a stretch of bad shots and turnovers. It ended the game for us. Last 10 minutes of the first half. But we just can't guard them. They didn't even run anything. It's just like USC. They just beat us. Just beat us right off the dribble. A couple pick and rolls, but they just beat us. They're just better than us in all 3 phases. For us, Lazar had none at halftime, I believe. The truth of it is for us, we got no chance at matching their firepower. When KJ Lewis, shoots the ball like that, nobody's going to beat them. I mean, look, I love him. He's a tough kid, competitor. I have great respect for him. But he's not a shooter. I've seen him for 3 years. I know he's a freshman, but I've seen him for 3 years. He shoots the ball like that, you got no chance.
You made a change in the starting lineup. Was there a
practice?
Coach, in a performance like this, what positives are there to take?
None.
There you go. What do you make of that analysis of KJ Lewis there, not being a shooter?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's fair. I think if you wanted to point at one facet to his game, DK, that he probably needs to work on most is his outside shooting, consistency, but that's every freshman guard, right? I think what he's saying is, Cronin's saying, I recruited that guy for the last 2 years and wanted him really, because he kind of embodies the Cronin style. I mean, KJ Lewis got off the bus, DK, and was ready to go defend Division I high-level shooting guards and point guards from day one. You know what I mean? Like his intangibles and how hard he rebounds and all those things. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that the one thing KJ's not great at right now is outside shooting. So if he goes 2 for 4, that's just kind of that bonus situation, right?
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. It was a 44-27 Arizona lead at the half. I mean, they were up 17 points. They came out and quickly stretched that to a 26-point lead out of the break. Tommy Lloyd extremely impressed with the way his team came out and put their foot down on the Bruins in the first stanza of the second 20 minutes.
I think early in the year, and I mean, I don't have all the analytics or stats in front of me or burned in my head, but I think, in some of our higher level games, I think we were 0-8 in the first 4 minutes of the second half. And I'm not a coach that I don't break it down into rounds like some people do, which is smart, but, I'm always trying to look at the whole picture and then possession by possession underneath that. But yeah, we need to start out halves good. It's really important.
Yeah, that was, very, very, again, I guess it's the old adage, when you see, I'm not actually sure what I'm trying to say, but like the whole thing when a wolf sees a vulnerable animal and just goes in for the kill, that's exactly what the Wildcats did in that instance there to the UCLA Bruins in the early portion of that second half on Thursday night.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing, DK, and Kelvin talks about this all the time is, learning how to play with each other. It doesn't matter if you have 4 seniors on the team in the rotation, some new faces. The early stretch of this season, DK, one issue you might have seen with the Wildcats was they'd get out to a 10, 15-point lead, and then they might give that up back to a 4-point lead or so. Even if they came away with an 8-point win at the end, letting other teams back into the game. and being focused for every single play, not having those stretches where you have 5 or 6 possessions, maybe empty possessions with 2 or 3 turnovers along that stretch. That's how you avoid teams chipping away at your lead. So once you get out to that lead, just maintain that dominance. And, it's about making sure that the other team doesn't think that they have a chance, almost like demoralizing. So you get out to a 15-point lead, stretch it to 20, and then call it a night.
Caleb Love made 5 of his 10 shots in the ball game, says that the Cats knew what the game plan was and executed it to win a title.
We knew the game plan coming into the game, and we knew that if we won, we at least get the share. But Washington State didn't come through, so it was just great that they're just accustomed to how much work we put in, and that hard work that the coaches put in, and it's great. We're grateful for being Pac-12 champs.
And in that last game in Tucson, the Wildcats, in an effort to try to stop three-point shooting, which had kind of been their bugaboo leading into that game against UCLA in Tucson, they made some defensive changes to try to better defend the three-point line. Tommy Lloyd, though, said that is not how they played it this time around.
We played normal defense today, and maybe, there are some points of the year we're trying to get too tricky or too scout heavy, and, I think we literally did our normal defense today. We didn't do anything, different.
Well, you might remember, DK, that first game where they doubled the post. Like the first 10 possessions, they doubled the post 8 times. That led to wide open UCLA threes in McHale, and that's how UCLA, a big part of the reason UCLA got out to that lead. So just playing that standard man-on-man defense, I just thought the defense lately, not just this UCLA game, but last few weeks, has really been ramping up, and they're really kind of all on the same page. It's great having individual defenders, but talking is so important on defense, and you're seeing them really play as one unit right now.
Keyshawn Johnson, Caleb Love talked after the game about the Wildcat, the U of A versus UCLA history, and how it was awesome to hear those U of A chants at the end of a win in Poly Pavilion.
We know UCLA. We know they're a blue blood. We know they leading the NCAA in championships. So we know how big it is to come in here, win in Poly Pavilion. You look up there, you see all the jerseys from Kareem and Walden, and we just knew we had business to take care of.
The last time you guys faced them, they had a really good start in the first half. This time around, they couldn't really seem to get going. What changed from the first meeting to this time?
We just wanted to set the tone. They got the best of us. They didn't see the best of us at McHale, and we wanted to set the tone coming out in the first 4 minutes, and we kind of sustained it throughout the game, and we came in the second half and continued that, and our guys off the bench gave us great energy. Hats off to them. They put so much work in. KJ had a big game. JB came in being steady as he always is, and we need everybody on every time we step on the floor. Everybody that contributes.
And you guys have known all season that you guys fans travel pretty well, but hearing the U of A chants so early in the game, taking over the UCLA crowd, that had to get you guys going, right? Or feel like some sense of like, oh man, like this is for real right now.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate the fans always. They travel really well, and it just goes to the Arizona brand, how big it is, and we just wanted to deliver.
And deliver. Arizona did in a big way, a 23-point win to get the conference championship in their back pocket and the number 1 seed coming up next week here in Las Vegas. Let's get our first break of the afternoon in. Want to hear from you today, 520-848-1290. How do you feel about this latest championship for the Arizona Wildcats? Their final one of the Pac-12 Conference, number 18. They'll play out the string against USC today here over in Los Angeles, and how this game today might go, knowing that there is, for the most part, not a whole lot tangibly to play for in this game. It's the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show, along with Kelvin Ifan and JW Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719.
Boswell, 11 to shoot. Boswell looking for space. Step back. Three is up and good. Kylan Boswell drains his second. Lexington Tucson Charity 3. Timeout Bruins.
Kylan Boswell continued his solid play. Another good performance on the road as he has been very consistent of late for this Arizona Wildcats men's basketball team. Welcome back to Countdown to Tip-Off, coming to you from the MGM Graham Garden Arena for the final time as we wrap up our coverage of the Pac-12 women's basketball tournament and turn our attention next week to the men here in Las Vegas, where Arizona, as the outright Pac-12 champions, will be the number 1 seed. 520-848-1290 is the number for you if you'd like to get in on the program. Kelvin Ifan joins us straight off the flag football fields of Tucson. Kelvin, you guys got a win today.
Yeah, man, we got to win, man. I was excited for the kids, man. KJ played well. We had a few other kids that played well also. We also have a couple listeners. I mean, long-time listeners that was actually on my team and didn't actually know I was the coach. So it was pretty cool, but it was a fun game today. KJ actually did a game-winning pull at the end. The kid caught had a direct lane to the end zone, and KJ pulled his flag 5 yards before and preserved the dub.
Nice. Love that defensive side of it for sure. It is the Wildcats, number 5 in the country, taking on Southern California tonight at the Galen Center. We've got tip-off coming up at 8 o'clock. We've got you till 7 o'clock this evening. Let's take our first dive into this USC club.
Our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game is brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com.
Well, the big question everybody is asking, and as I mentioned in the last segment, this game tangibly does not really mean much. It's not going to change anything in the standings. Arizona, if they lose, will still be the Pac-12 Conference champions. They'll also still be the number 1 seed at the conference tournament next week here in Las Vegas. In fact, I may just lob out a question to the public and you today. We talked about this a little bit on Thursday about whether or not Tommy should even play his starters in this ball game. Kelvin vehemently disagreed with that thought, but I'd like to hear maybe what you think about that. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. The one thing Tommy Lloyd does not want tonight is a hangover.
There is no slump. We got to come out and play. It's going to be, it's going to test your maturity, test your competitive nature, and I think our guys are built for it. But again, you got to come out Saturday and do it. I mean, that's what it comes down to. We could talk all about this or that and speculate, but at the end of the day, those guys in the locker room are going to decide how they're going to come out and play.
And it is a much different team, as we mentioned, than what the Wildcats got the last time around. Last time, the 2 best players on this team, Isaiah Collier and Boogie Ellis, did not play. And so that alone will make a difference for the Trojans tonight.
They have 2 NBA-level guards that didn't play last game that are going to play this game. But you know what? Those are the challenge we want. So we're excited, and I'm sure it'll be a great, lively atmosphere, and let's see what we got.
And Kelvin, that's interesting just from the standpoint, he believes that both Collier and Ellis are NBA level. I mean, you've said that you believe Bronny James is NBA level. I mean, Josh Johnson, as a brother that plays in the NBA, he could be a guy that can play at that level. So there's certainly a lot of talent on this team for USC, which kind of makes it very disappointing that they are only 13-17, but a lot has gone into that with the injuries that they've suffered and a multiple number of guys that have had to step in and play.
Yeah, you hate that for USC. You would really love to see them at full strength all year, so you really could have seen, what type of team that they have. But, right now it's all about the right here and now. And Arizona Wildcats see the abilities that they have on that team with guys like Boogie Ellis. Of course, LeBron James Jr. Those guys are for sure at some point are going to have opportunities to play professional basketball. But with that being said, that's just more motivation for our guys to step up and to go in there and finish this thing. You don't want to finish your championship season conference championship on a loss.
Yeah, and so, Kelvin, if you want to prep yourself for March, going up against NBA guard play, That's it. That's all.
You said it, because March is all about the guards.
And not only that, but upperclassmen. So we talked about Pope. We talked about a lot of these guards that Arizona's seen in the conference, but they haven't seen these two guys. And these two guys are the upperclassmen NBA-level guards that you're going to need to be able to play well against if you want to make a deep run. So
great.
This is the best prep. So, DK, I understand your principle of maybe having some of the starters get some rest. But to me, getting sharp and going forward, this is a challenge. This is a challenge. The 4 guards for Arizona challenge to go up against those two guys. It's a huge statement to see how they do going into March.
And I'll say this one thing, DK. I feel like that they can have plenty rest. Their first game is Thursday?
Thursday, correct.
Right. They're rewarded with an extra day. They don't have to play Wednesday. Their first game is Thursday. They get an advantage over teams that have to play Wednesday. What more of a rest do you want at this time of the year? What more of a rest do you want or need?
Good point indeed. Good point indeed. Andy Enfield is the head coach of this USC basketball team. He, for one, is happy to have his best 2 players back with Boogie Ellis and Isaiah Collier in the lineup and having not played the first time around.
Yeah, it's nice to have our 2 leading scorers back. They were hurt at the same time early January. We're 2-2 in the league, and we were really getting better. Isaiah was learning how to play the point guard position. We were getting better defensively. And then Boogie hurt his hamstring against Stanford, was out over 3 weeks, and then he came back. He was really out 6 weeks because he wasn't himself. And then Collier hurt his hand, was out over a month, and Josh got sick and lost 15 pounds. So when you lose your 2 leading scorers at the same time, it's hard. We didn't score 70 points for 6 straight games, lost all 6. And now we're putting up 80-some every night. We got our guys back. We're able to practice. And it's amazing when you have your full roster, and including your 2 leading scorers. Losing them at the same time was devastating for our Pac-12 season, because when you lose 6 in a row in the Pac-12, it's hard to make that up. This is not an 82 NBA games schedule. It's a very limited schedule in the league. So when you lose 6 in a row, it puts a lot of pressure on you. I'm proud of our guys mentally. They've stuck together. And we've had great practices since they've been back from their injuries. And we have a roster now, and we've been able to practice, and they're playing better. And I know we've lost a couple close games. We won 3 out of 4, including 2 big road games last 2 weeks, and almost had 3 road wins. But our guys are at least have come together. They've stayed together and playing better.
All right, we'll dive more into Andy Enfield's club coming up a little bit later. But first, let's wrap that up and check in with Reggie Geary in Los Angeles.
It's time now to take you down the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
Reggie Geary will be on the call tonight for the Wildcats for their game against Southern California at the Galen Center. He joins us now. And Reggie, you were part of Pac-12 championship regular season teams back in your day. Had a chance to see these guys win one on Thursday night. There's nothing sweeter than going through that conference schedule and coming out as the guy that's on top.
So true, David. I really am a big believer in the regular season champion kind of being the real champion in my mind to a degree, just because you've gone through the long haul of being on the road, and you have to do it over months. And for Arizona to do it, versus a rival like UCLA on, Pauley Pavilion, hollowed ground, it was a great night.
What kind of stood out to you about the way the Wildcats did it? Obviously, Kylan has been playing extremely well of late. He's a lot more consistent, hit a couple of big shots there toward the end of the first half to get that run going, and then just the blitzkrieg right out of the break to kind of put that game away very quickly.
It was an impressive team win. I really do believe that. I'll give UCLA the first 25% of the game there. I thought the first 10 minutes they controlled tempo. They were kind of able to ugly the game up a little bit and kind of keep Caleb Love under wraps for the most part. But to Arizona's credit, there really was no panic. Defensively, they were still very good. Offensively, they were misfiring. But once they got going, and when they got going, as you mentioned, Caleb Love was on the bench at that point. So it was a KJ Lewis 3, it was a Boswell 3, and maybe a layup. I know Jaden Bradley had a layup, and they were able to get a little separation there with Caleb Love on the bench. And then when Caleb Love came back in the game, they just made a really nice run there. He got to the free throw line 3 or 4 times and was really aggressive and hit a 3. And next thing you know, went from a tight game to Arizona kind of walking away with it at halftime. So a real solid, really good team win.
Now, Reggie, I'm going to ask you a question we talked about a little bit after the game. I brought this up on Thursday night. Kelvin vehemently disagreed with me on this. This game means nothing today. Not going to change anything about what's happening next week in Las Vegas. This is not the NBA where in professional sports you might not even play a whole lot of your starters. I mean, we've seen the Suns rest, Booker and Durant and multiple guys when games don't matter. Would you see Tommy Lloyd ever doing anything like that? And I'm not saying maybe not play his starters at all, but play his bench more extensively in a game like this tonight.
I mean, that's definitely a possibility that he would do that. I'm envisioning them, at least initially, going for the win. The good thing about the UCLA game and being that it was a blowout, when you look at the minutes of the starters, they were all down. Keshad had 24 minutes. They were all in that mid-20 range, under their league average. So they got a little bit of rest, surprisingly against UCLA. So I think it's all guns blazing. Anytime you lace them up, you want to win. You're breaking a sweat. You potentially get injured. So you might as well go out there and play hard and see if you can get it. If for some reason USC, has their A game and maybe gets away or maybe there's a lead, you can see. Maybe Tommy's saying, okay, tonight's not our night, but my feeling and how competitive he is in this group, they want to have good momentum going into Vegas.
Now, and the other thing that kind of stood out about the win, again, obviously the performance off the bench by KJ Lewis. And even Tommy said that after the game. It's like, hey, I've talked to my bench guys. I've let them know, that their role is very, very important right now. So, maybe not necessarily play them any more extensively than before, but he's clearly driving home the message that those guys need to step up their games when they are in the contest.
And the bench, the bench, when we say the bench, we're talking about, KJ Lewis and Jaden Bradley.
Right.
And Davis for the most part. To have 2 freshmen and a sophomore play as well as they have all year, as solid as they have, it might not always reflected in maybe some big production or big numbers, even though, they've had some big nights. Jaden Bradley had 21 versus ASU. KJ Lewis had the big game last game. They've been productive there. More importantly, they haven't made a lot of mistakes. Defensively, the 3 of them have set a tone. I thought Mo Krivas versus a Dembo in the last game. That was a great teachable moment, great minutes for him. And so they have to be on it, and they've been exceptionally good for such a young group.
It is our view from courtside. We're talking with Reggie Geary, radio analyst for the Arizona Wildcats Radio Network, and that's brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser celebrating 25 years of serving Arizona. Reggie, I'm still out here in Las Vegas. I'll be here when you guys get here next week. Kelvin and J-Dub are back in studio. Kelvin, what do you got for Reggie today?
Whoa, Reg, how you doing first, though, brother? Captain.
I'm good, brother.
Yes, sir. So first thing I want to ask you is, how important is it that Boswell is playing better right now for this team going into the tournament play?
Yeah, Boswell's play has been, his last month and a half has been, a first-team Pac-12 type player, a guy who, all the accolades he was receiving in the beginning, you could see why it was so. You can see why what they were seeing, because he's been fantastic. The double doubles, the low post presence. It seems maybe that his conditioning kind of kicked in about halfway through the season, and since then he's been gangbusters. Where you can give him the basketball, he can be productive, actually shooting free throws at a better clip, and we know how important that is, Kelvin. Second half or going into tournaments, he's gonna have to be around that 55-60% range to really be effective, and he's done that recently, so he's put the work in. But his play's been huge, and when we get that presence now, man, it just makes everybody else that much more dangerous.
And also Boswell, how important is it that Coach stuck with Boswell in the starting lineup, and that he's playing well going into tournament play as well?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Kelvin. Especially how Tommy's kind of treated Boswell in just terms of he's a young point guard. He's still learning the game, still learning about himself, and I think Tommy's kind of gone back with going kind of being respectful, or I shouldn't say respectful, just trying to be just conscious of that. He's young, but it sometimes is getting some tough love as well. And so Colin is very talented, has a high ceiling. I think one of the big stats that everyone should realize, wonder how important he is. When he scored 10 plus or more points, U of A is 19-1. And I think that's a big number because you know what you're going to get out of Love for the most part. You know you're going to get out of Pella and also Ballo. If Boswell is now 10 plus, which he's been the last few games and really looks more comfortable, man, watch out.
And the last thing I'll say is this. What about Bradley playing so well coming off the bench? You were on the Final Four team. Jason Terry was the sixth man coming off the bench back on that Final Four team. How important it is to have a couple guards, even KJ Lewis, being able to come off the bench and play well in this tournament play because, we all know the way that guards play guard play is what really controls the NCAA tournament.
Exactly. Guard play is huge. Jaden Bradley has been spectacular in his consistency. Does not make a lot of mistakes, takes absolutely fantastic care of the basketball. I think it's like a 2.5 assists to 1 turnover ratio, which is very, very good. Defensively, he's good. He's just dangerous enough, 15 foot and in, to really, be effective. I'm really excited for his future and as he increases his range. But, Jaden is an experienced sophomore. He started a lot of games at Alabama, plays a lot of minutes for Arizona. KJ Lewis, body ready, 6'4", 205, Mo Cretus. So the guard play has been really, really good. And we know, going to Pac-12 tournament and NCAA tournament with the ball being in your hands of your decision makers, they got to make good decisions.
All right, Reggie, you will have the call with Brian Jeffries this evening at 8 o'clock. We appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us.
Hey, it's always fun, guys, man. DK, I look forward to seeing you in Vegas, and everybody, I listen to the game tonight and bear down.
Absolutely. Reggie Geary with your view from courtside.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
All right, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. We will have much more coming up for you straight ahead as we get you set for this one tonight. Wildcats taking on USC out at the Galen Center. Tip-off coming up at 8 o'clock. It's the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
That's been our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game. Brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindownedepot.com. This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Advanced Auto Care, Crest Insurance Group, Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Frog in Firkin, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, The Window Depot.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Hit the community trails, explore local parks like Saguaro National and Colossal Cave, and mingle at private Diamond Community Park events. In the top-rated Vail
Check, 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 test, 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 test. Well, everything's back to normal there on that. From the big fella, Mo Krivas. Welcome back to Countdown to Tip-Off, coming to you from the MGM Grand Garden Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Our final show from here before, again, we will turn our focus to the Pac-12 men's basketball tournament, which will start next week here in Las Vegas. Arizona, however, will not play until Thursday, so we've got some time that we'll be out here just presenting you some shows and whatnot. Obviously, the Pac-12 women's basketball tournament will wrap up on Sunday. Stanford, the top seed, will take on Southern California, and that game will start, I believe, 3 o'clock in Tucson as we hit daylight savings time, which will affect all of us out here in Las Vegas because this is now obviously Pacific time. Arizona still on Mountain time, but as of midnight tonight, we will all, well, maybe 2 in the morning or whenever that transition takes place, we'll all be on Pacific time. Once again, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Don't forget, Window Depot sponsors Arizona's top rebounding performance every night. It's the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. Might be the Wildcat with the most rebounds. Might be the U of A star with the most impactful boards. We'll tell you the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game coming up tonight on the post-game show. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Let's shine a spotlight on one of our Arizona Wildcats.
Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Umar Ballo came up just a little bit short of matching that club record, program record for double-doubles. He had 9 in a row, but could not hit that number in the game against UCLA the other night. Still, though, he has scored over 1,100 points in his career here at the University of Arizona. He is one of the members of the 1,000-point-750 rebound club at Arizona. He's got the highest field goal percentage in program history right now at 64%. He is closing out his career in fine fashion. If obviously this is the end of his career, he could come back again for another year if he so chooses. Umar Ballo this week asked about Arizona's defense and how their defense leads to transition offense, and when the Wildcats get the break going, they are such a good basketball team.
That gives you like a step ahead, because when the game is tied, the crowd get into it and the ref might get into it, and if you have a big lead, then at least that gives you a little bit more room of error, and if you play like stick to the plan, and you will come out on the top most of the times.
How much did you know about March Madness when you were growing up outside this country?
Nothing. I know nothing about March Madness.
Learned about it since, and what does it mean to you?
It's a great opportunity, because not everyone can make it to play March Madness, and I'm fortunate enough through my all 4 years in college basketball, I was able to make to the March, and this one is going to be very special, and I'm looking forward to it.
Defense being the key to the game, I've noticed several sequences where, say, you get a block, and then the next possession on the other end, you finish at the rim. Kylan gets a steal, next possession he hits a three. Caleb's done that several times this year. Is your offensive success as a team a lot of times dependent on your defensive effort?
Yeah, when we are locked in defensively, that's when we are our best, because we get steal, we get easy bucket, highlight, and all those stuff, but all start with defense, and we are more like defensive-minded team, and that's been our goal since August.
Umar, I didn't get a chance to ask you the sort of adopted family you brought in for the senior day ceremony. Was that right? And I was wondering what the story was behind them. When did you guys meet, or did you live with them at any point up there?
No, I didn't live with them, but they know it's like a close family situation since back home, since I was super young, and they're a great family. I'm glad that they made it to come to watch my senior night.
Do you guys get to hang out at all during the weekend?
Yeah, a lot. And every summer I try to go to Spokane,
Well, that's pretty cool. Did not aware that Umar Ballo had a adopted family. Always nice to hear stories like that, especially coming from another country, that families here in the United States can carve out close relationships with some of these kids to make their transitions to this country a lot more smoother. Always fun to shine that spotlight on a player like Umar Ballo.
As today's Spotlight on a Cat has been brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Umar Ballo, we mentioned, saw that streak of 9 straight double-doubles end in the game against UCLA on Thursday night. It was the longest stretch since Al Fleming did it back in 1974-75. Al had 10 straight double-doubles. Umar 29 now on his career. That is one shy of Channing Frye for 5th place in program history. 15 double-doubles this season. And I mentioned the 1,750 club that he is in, just one of 3 players there. And he has averaged, speaking of double-doubles, he has averaged a double-double in Pac-12 Conference play. 13 points and 12 rebounds.
Kelvin,
for Umar Ballo.
How do you explain to somebody who's maybe a casual basketball fan that Umar Ballo getting 3 rebounds in that game led to them winning that game because Dembona got 5 rebounds in that game?
Yes, well, when you have a dominant rebounder like a physical presence, a real tough guy in Bona, the best thing that you can do sometimes, and even what we tell guys is face guard, box out. And basically it's where you look directly at him when the ball goes up and you basically just get into his body and don't allow him to get the rebounds because he's the most dominant rebounder on their team.
Only rebounder on their team, really.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you can keep him off the boards, it gives all your other guys chances like the way that Johnson had. Keyshawn had a great rebound tonight, and that's the reason why we called it a team. He did his job. And sometimes you'll collect all the rebounds. And I think I'll say this again. I think Lloyd has been saying it all year. Coach Lloyd has been saying it all year. We're not about records.
Right.
We're not about, if it works out that way, we're happy. And to me, that was evidence that they wasn't worried about that in that situation. If so, he would have played 35 minutes trying to get it.
And look, come on, everybody in Tucson loves Umar Ballo. What's not to love, right? I mean, he's a rare, plays with such ferocity, really sweet guy off the court, all those things. And they're sad because maybe Ballo didn't get to 10, maybe didn't get to 11 because they want to see him in those record books. But who doesn't care is Umar Ballo because he did his, like you just said, K-Rock. He did his job in keeping Bona off the glass. The only way UCLA comes close to winning that game is if Bona goes crazy with 15, 20 boards because he's really their only guy on that side.
And nobody knows more than Ballo how hard it is playing in the Pac-12.
There you go.
Yes, indeed.
And we mentioned Arizona, and we mentioned that Ballo needs just a double-double today to tie Channing Frye for 5th all-time, the top 4 in terms of career double-doubles. We mentioned Al Fleming had the most consecutive. He is also on top of that list with 63. Next up, Bob Elliott with 48. Michael Wright comes in after that with 34.
That was the guy. I didn't get to see Bob play. I was too young, but I saw every game Michael Wright played in Kelvin. And as far as like double-double machines go, he was right up there.
So he's 3rd. Jordan Hill, who was on one of my original teams here, is 4th on that list with 32. So Ballo has a chance to not only pass Channing Frye, but he could potentially pass Jordan Hill this year as well. It might be tough to get to Michael Wright, but it's certainly possible when you look to see right now the Wildcats after today. And this is the funny thing about this time of year when you look at it. After today, the Wildcats are only guaranteed 2 more games.
Yeah.
After today, but obviously could play as many as 7 more games this season. So you just know you're at that point of the year where you don't really know what's left.
Could be 9, right?
Wildcats. Well, I think it's 6. Well, I'm sorry. Yes,
3
9,
for the 3 for Pac, and then it would be 6 in the NCAA tournament.
So
that's the max.
9 games potentially.
Potentially,
anywhere between 2 games and 9 games remaining on this 2023-24.
Goes by fast, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, even more reason to play this game today.
Right.
So if Umar Ballo, we'll get into that because it's heating up. I put that up. I put it out as a question of the day. Head over to our Twitter account right now, Wildcats 1290. I've got the question up right now on our Twitter account. Should Tommy Lloyd rest his starters tonight with nothing at stake in LA against the USC Trojans? Not completely rest them, as in not play at all, but play his bench more extensively. You can head on over right now to our Twitter account and vote in this poll at Wildcats 1290. Yes, rest the starters. No, don't change a thing. I'll tell you where the voting is when we come back. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2 straight ahead. It's the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show, also brought to you by Dave & Buster's, the best place to eat, drink, and play while watching tonight's game between the Wildcats and the Trojans. With Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Advanced Auto Care, Crest Insurance Group, Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Frog in Firkin, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Window Depot. KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We have the Arizona Wildcats covered on game day like no one else. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Most financial advisors I know have had a moment in their career where they thought, with more control, I would do things differently for my clients' sake. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and our firm was created by advisors with the understanding that we need flexibility, control, and decision-making power to create the best experience for our clients. If you're an advisor interested in learning more about our growing firm, call me at 719-1433 to talk more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Are you ready to adopt? Come to the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. When you adopt from us, you will save more than one life. You'll also make room for the next pet in need. The Humane Society of Southern Arizona has been compassionately serving pets and the people who love them since 1944. Our knowledgeable adoption matchmakers will help you find the right pet for your home and support you after you adopt. We are open 7 days a week at our main campus at 635 West Roger Road. Learn more and see adoptable pets at hssaz.org.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Desperate buyers have created tremendous opportunity for sellers. If you've had the slightest thought of selling your home, it's time to call Sean Poston with the Poston Results Team at Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. Why choose the Poston Results Team? Past performance, more money in your pocket, over a 65% referral rate, an incredible Poston Results Team staff, and most important, communication, because you and your home matter. The Poston Results Team. When buying and selling really matter, go to TucsonHomeValues.com. That's TucsonHomeValues with an S.com.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. When I need a winning strategy for my team, nothing beats knowledge and skill. That's why I recommend Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for all your home service needs. Having personally witnessed the impact of hard work and dedication, Right Way brings the same commitment to your home's comfort. Whether it's HVAC, plumbing, or electrical, their team always delivers excellence. With a legacy of quality service since 1959, you know you're in good hands. So give your home the best. Choose Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Call or text 520-640-CATS or visit rightwayac.com.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is cooler here, and so pests are seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? University Termite and Pest Control has been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control for the past 50 years. You can too. University Termite and Pest Control. Find us online at bepestfree.com.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Rebound snagged by KJ Lewis. Cats on the run. Lewis quickly the other way. KJ feed it off for Bradley. Open for a 3 from the right wing. It is good. Jaden Bradley with the Lexus of Tucson charity 3. And the Wildcats extend their lead now up 69-43.
That bench bunch has been coming on for the Arizona Wildcats. We've seen Jaden Bradley get his on a number of occasions. We saw KJ Lewis get his as well. Bradley has a 20-point game. That's maybe the one thing that KJ has not quite gotten to a 20-point game yet in his career, but we've seen Jaden Bradley be able to get to that as Tommy Lloyd's bench has been providing a punch the punch necessary, and we'll get into that a little bit later in our show as well as we go on here. It is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show coming to you live from the MGM Grand Garden Arena here in Los Angeles. Final day here. Pac-12 Women's Basketball Championship happening here on Sunday. It'll be the USC Women of Troy, the number 2 seed against number 1 Stanford, and that should be one exciting game, especially after what we saw yesterday. 2 extremely, extremely fun to watch semifinal games, including the nightcap with USC and UCLA that went to double overtime. Man, this has just been to show you how good this conference has been, guys. This season, they have not been able to finish games in regulation. I mean, I'd be interested to see what the count is for not only overtime games this season on the Pac-12 women's side, but multiple overtime games this season on the women's side. And if the total number of overtime games that we've seen this year is anywhere close to being the record for overtime games in a season, because it just seems like every week we are seeing these multiple overtime battles here in this conference on the women's side. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, great coaches. You got great coaches up and down that Pac-12 roster of teams, and great players. You can't do these things without having some of the great players that are in this conference. And I'll say this: this is one of the reasons I hate to see the conference dissolve, because for the women's side, I mean, it's been like that for a long time where up and down they having 4 or 5 teams. And this year, I think maybe even 8 to 9 teams that are able to go to the NCAA tournament. So, yeah, I really hate that, it's ending, because this conference has been great, with Stanford especially, in this women's basketball games.
You heard that highlight at the top of the segment there, a basket in transition for the Arizona Wildcats coming from Jaden Bradley. After the game in Westwood, Keyshawn Johnson talked about the stellar play of KJ Lewis and Jaden Bradley of late.
They've been good all year. It's no surprise now. We see KJ not a normal freshman, and JB, he's a winner. The way he play off 2 feet and make his job look easy is really tough, but he's very disciplined. Also, Big Crevice, the way he played defense on Bona down the stretch. He had a lot of stops, a lot of big stops, and those, we don't take those for granted. We see those, and we know how big he's going to be coming up in the near future.
Indeed. I mean, those 2 young men have been fabulous, and let's hope that play continues as we get into this dominant point of the season. Jaden Bradley right now, a candidate. Don't forget that this is an award that they hand out, the Pac-12 Sixth Man of the Year, and he is definitely a candidate for that. In fact, I'll see if I can find, somebody had put out that essentially his numbers make him worthy to potentially not only be the best 6th man in the Pac-12, but the best 6th man in the country right now, Jaden Bradley. I mean, that's a high calling right there.
Yeah, it is, and I would wonder how far back is KJ Lewis on that on that chart.
Not far. I mean,
and I was just thinking earlier about KJ Lewis. I say, we have to watch how well he played, DK, now. Because if he played real good going through this tournament, it's a chance that with his all the attributes that he bring to the table, they're looking for that in this NBA. If anybody that watches.
Well, you were wrapping up flag football. We played McCronen's thoughts after the loss, and what he said was he'd been recruiting KJ since he was a sophomore, so he knows all about KJ's game. What he said was he's not a shooter. So when he shoots like that, you can't stop him. And DK asked me, he said, is that fair? And I said, yeah. I mean, look at all the tangibles. KJ stepped off the bus ready to guard any kind of high-level D1 guards. He's really good rebound, very, very plus rebounder for that size. If you're going to look at one thing, you're talking about the future of his game. Right. Working on that consistent outside shot, that's got to be it.
All right, this is what I was talking about. It's a guy by the name of Evan Mikawa. And he is a college basketball analyst at evanmia.com. And he put out what's called the Bayesian Performance Rating. And the BPR measures overall player value using box score stats, advanced on-off plus-minus data, and historical information. He's got Jaden Bradley number one in that respect of players off the bench with a BPR of 7.66. Now, this is it combines your offensive BPR and your defensive PPR, and then your minutes per game, and he averages right about 19.2 minutes per ball game. So Jaden Bradley on this chart that Evan Miyakawa has put out is number one, and KJ Lewis is number 10 in terms of the most impactful sixth men in college basketball. Jaden Bradley with a BPR of 7.66, KJ Lewis with a BPR of 5.44. So that analytic right there, which is the first time I'm seeing this analytic, but it really shines a light on what the Wildcats are getting from both Jaden Bradley and KJ Lewis off the bench. All right, guys, I put the question of the day out, and it is in terms of what we've been talking about. Should Tommy Lloyd rest his starters tonight with nothing at stake in L.A.? Not completely rest them as in not play, but play his bench more. You can head on over to Twitter. We've got a poll up right now. I just put this up 20 minutes ago. It's already got 67 votes. 87% saying no, do not change a thing. 13% saying yes, rest the starters. We've also got a couple of comments on this. Greg Fedorer checks in. He says, what? Absolutely not with a one seed in play. This isn't the NBA. Now, here's the question with that. And Tommy Lloyd has even talked about this. Yeah, you get the number one seed. That's great. But I don't think Tommy even really cares whether it's a 1 or a 2. At least he's not saying publicly that he cares whether the Wildcats get a 1 or a 2. So why should the seed even come into play in how you determine how to play this game?
Well, I'll say this. I don't think Tommy cares, but I think he does care about keeping sharp and staying, as sharp as they've played these last few weeks. And the only way to do that with 6 days off, 5 days off until the next game. They're gonna have a bye in the first round. We know that. So they're not playing again until Thursday. Maintaining that rotational sharpness, DK, I think is the real argument for why you don't make much changes. I could see maybe, if a situation where they get out to a big lead or USC somehow gets out to a big lead that you maybe play some of the deeper guys like Morauskas and, Borovicin in the bench. But I completely understand in baseball. I completely understand in NBA because you're talking about a grueling 82-game season. The playoffs are crazy, 5-7, best of 7 from round 1 in NBA. And obviously you got to get your pitchers and your rotational players set up for, the long baseball postseason. At this level with, the college basketball being 35 games or so and then having so much time off, I don't think these guys are I think these guys are plenty rested as it is, Kelvin. I mean, you speak on this. You're the athlete amongst us, but I don't know that this season has been so long and grueling that those guys really need extra rest to get ready for next Thursday.
Yeah, no, I don't think so as well. I mean, like you said, with the game, it wasn't too long ago that they had a whole week off with the one game with Arizona State. They had some big wins where they blow people out and got a lot of bench play that ended up playing well. So I just don't feel like the guys have been worn out. I think you want to keep them sharp. I think you want to keep them not necessarily what I say happy, but in that team where they get just to get to continue to learn about each other because we still forget that a lot of these guys haven't played a lot together. So I just think as many minutes as they can get working together, the better for them going into the tournament.
The other big factor here, DK, is you got to think about how are you going to tell Caleb Love, Pella Larson, Kylan Boswell, KJ Lewis, and Jaden Bradley to not go out and play against 2 NBA caliber guards and show them what's up? I mean, they're going to take it upon themselves, Kelvin. As far as I'm concerned,
you got to see them.
You haven't
see them.
Exactly.
You can't dodge them. You got to see them. Guy DK JW, you have to see them. You don't want to dodge those guys. You don't want to backpedal into the championship. You're going to want to go right at those guys. If anything, I want to force you to put your guys on the bench. I want to force you to take your guys out. And when you take your guys out, DK, I'll call my dogs out.
And I absolutely agree with what you're saying, but that's not what the two. I have a second comment here from Reggett. He says, play them, plenty of time to rest, number one seed in play. Both these, I understand the whole analytics of you want to get your timing down, you want to get your cohesion down, but I got two people that are talking about number one seeds. That's the question I'm asking. These people are talking about that you got to play them because there's number one seed at stake. Does that even matter?
I mean, again, if you hear our coach speak, and I'm speaking from my plan, I ain't thinking about that right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about finishing my Pac-12 regular season.
Right.
Once I get through with that, then I'm thinking about the tournament championship. You know, again, as we always say, one game at a time, right? And then I'm worried about that. So if you take care of business, then the number 1 seed is locked up.
Yeah.
You can't worry about if you end up getting number 2. But if you don't take care of business, you always have to wonder. If you lose this game, you always have to wonder, what if?
I also think, if you listen to the coaches and players these last, especially 3-4 weeks, what's the buzzword they've used? Building. We're building, we're building, we're building. Every day we're building, we're building. And if you do anything today in this game outside of the scope of what you've been doing and working on all season long, DK, that's throwing a wrench in the works. I'm not even talking about 1 seeds. That's, personally, I don't care. 1, 2, as long as you stay in the West, so that you can.
Fans are talking about 1 seeds.
I'm not them.
I just got another comment talking about 1 seeds.
But that's them. I'm talking about what I don't personally care. Having watched college basketball 40 years, Kelvin, you get in the West, you get your fans be able to travel to a shorter distance, you get a favorable draw. That's fine. You're going to have to see the 2 or the 1, regardless if you go far enough. So as far as getting that 1 seed, it's prestigious. You obviously want to be on that 1 line, obviously, always. They're playing to win every game. That's what I'm saying. Listen to the coach, listen to the players. They're building towards being their best this time of year. And whatever they have to do within the scope of that today, they're going to continue to do that.
And I'll say this one more thing. Tennessee lost. So it's not that same kind of pressure there. This is not for the players right here. This is not for the players' ears. But Tennessee lost. If they would have won that game, maybe it would have been even, maybe it would have been more pressure, not for the team, but as far as to get that number 1 seed. But with them losing, I think that opens the door, win or lose, for Arizona to still be in a number 1 seed position.
All right, we'll dive more into that. Getting a lot of comments on it. At Wildcats 1290 is the poll. Head on over there right now and vote on whether or not Tommy should play his starters and how extensively he should play his starters tonight in Los Angeles, with this game meaning not a whole lot to the standings in terms as it relates to the Pac-12.
It's also the last ever game in Pac-12 history, right?
That's true.
So, it's not like it doesn't matter. They've wrapped up the regular season conference champion, which is obviously always a goal. They haven't seen those 2 guys. We talked about that. We talked about Boogie. We talked about Collins. That's a couple of NBA guys. But as far as it being the final ever game in the Pac-12, I don't think they're just going to go in and say, you can have this one, Trojans.
All right, let's take a look at what else is happening in the Pac-12 today.
The Pac-12 scoreboard is brought to you by Mesquite Valley Growers. Mesquite Valley Growers. Real growers, real experience, real nursery.
All right, we've got one final in already. Colorado demolishes Oregon State 73-57. Eddie Lampkin Jr., 17 points and 11 rebounds for the Buffaloes today. They finish 22-9, 13-7 in the Pac-12. Oregon State finishes 13-18, 5-5 in conference play. One game is in progress right now at Eugene. Oregon leading Utah early 12-5. The Ducks are 11-8 in conference play. Utah comes in at 9-10. The other game tonight will be a later one than ours. Arizona State will be across town in Westwood to take on the Bruins, and a win for the Sun Devils tonight would draw them even with UCLA in Pac-12 conference play. We'll take a look at the standings coming up in our next segment and let you know. I don't know that anything's been definitively decided in terms of the middle of the pack, but we'll try to give you an indication of what that is. Kelvin mentioned that Tennessee lost today at home to Kentucky. So the number 15 Wildcats knock off the number 4 Vols 85-81. Wow. In this game, in a losing cause, Dalton Neck scored 40 points.
He's been doing that a lot
Volunteers. Kentucky didn't score 100, but they got 85, and they get the win on the road. How about this out of the Big 12 today? Kansas gets demolished at Houston.
Under
76-46.
46, Kelvin.
Man.
Houston held Kansas to 46 today.
Kelvin Sampson.
Yep.
Lock-up defense.
Right?
I had that game on, too, man. It was like Kansas was just struggling to get into their offense.
Yeah, I'm glad they're going to be in another bracket.
Right.
We'll catch them in the Final Four.
Ooh, Houston is tough, yeah.
How tough is the Big 12? Kansas State at 8-10 knocks off number 6 Iowa State at home, 65-58. So the Cyclones fall to 13-5 in conference play. Those are the only finals on the board. Several games are in progress late. Number 8 Marquette is leading at Xavier 84-78. It has been a down year for Sean Miller and the Musketeers, as they'll need to win the Big East tournament to have a shot this year to go to the NCAA tournament. They went there last year in his first year, but not looking like they will go back this season. And the big rivalry on Tobacco Road being played at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Number 7 North Carolina leading 9th-ranked Duke 35-27. That is in the late stages of the first half. That is a look at your scoreboard.
That's been the Pac-12 Scoreboard, brought to you by Mesquite Valley Growers. Mesquite Valley Growers, real experience, real nursery. Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we still have a lot still to go. We're going to talk to Jordan Moore, the play-by-play man for the USC Trojans. He'll join us with your scouting report. Still to come in this hour of the show, we will have our pest of the game. Who will be that Trojan that might get underneath the Wildcat skin today? University Termite and Pest Control. Best bets, the over-under is 162 tonight. Will the Wildcats and Trojans combine to go over that number? Starting lineups, keys to the game, all of that still straight ahead. Meridian Wealth Management countdown to tip-off. USC, Arizona tonight at the Galen Center with tip-off at 8 o'clock. Brian Jeffries, Reggie Geary will have the call. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Blue Whale Car Wash, Caruso's Italian Restaurant, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, The Diamond Store, Goldberg and Osborne, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Nova Home Loans, Recon Auto Detail, Ride Now Power Sports Tucson, Tucson Police Department.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. When I need a winning strategy for my team, nothing beats knowledge and skill. That's why I recommend Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for all your home service needs. Having personally witnessed the impact of hard work and dedication, Right Way brings the same commitment to your home's comfort. Whether it's HVAC, plumbing, or electrical, their team always delivers excellence. With a legacy of quality service since 1959, you know you're in good hands. So give your home the best. Choose Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Call or text 520-640-CATS or visit rightwayac.com.
Southern Arizona Radiology Associates have been dedicated to providing superior images and quality care for the last 35 years. They're the one you trust when you need an X-ray, CT scan, ultrasound, mammogram, or MRI. They have locations in Tucson, Green Valley, and Sierra Vista. Ask your doctor to refer you to Southern Arizona Radiology Associates today. That's Southern Arizona Radiology Associates. Visit their website at sararadiology.com or call 520-335-6849 for more information.
At Nova Home Loans, we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to enjoy the independence that comes with home ownership. Whether you're a first-time home buyer who needs down payment assistance, have less than perfect credit, or looking to refinance, Nova has a variety of home loan programs for your unique situation. Visit novahomeloans.com or call 800-955-9125 to learn more. Not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Rates and available loan programs are subject to change without notice. NMLS 3087, BK 0902429, Equal Housing Opportunity.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 30 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees, bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including 5 in Tucson and Southern Arizona, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 1,800 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after any accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Experiencing the Sonoran Desert's natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' Cay. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. 6 model homes are now open to tour at Del Webb at Rockin' Cay. Here, life is about more than just beautiful homes. It's about the experiences waiting outside your front door at this new 55-plus active adult neighborhood. LiveRockinCay.com. Designed by nature, built for you. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
11 to shoot. Pella holding it there. Baller with the screen. Larson around it. Step back, no shot, over to Love. He'll launch the deep three. It's up and good. Caleb Love with his first licks of Tucson charity three.
Caleb Love is in line potentially to be the Pac-12 Player of the Year. That's a question we've been talking about all season long. Who were the guys on that list? We talked about Caleb Love. We talked about KJ Simpson from Colorado. We talked about Isaac Jones from Washington. Guys, there's one game left to play. Is Caleb Love your Pac-12 Player of the Year?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think, Isaac Jones has the biggest case, I think. But I think at the end of the day, the way that Love has came in here, just took that scoring and just his defensive play. I think, forget about that side too.
Yeah.
I mean, his defensive presence that he's bringing, even assisting the ball. So his overall play makes him, I feel like, the Player of the Year.
What also came out today, guys, is the final ballot for the Wooden Award. And there's only one Pac-12 player on that 15-man list, and that's Caleb Love. So, yeah, I mean, it's always been best player, best team. We talked about this quite a bit, DK. And if there's a player who goes crazy, averaging 28 and 15, sure, you got a conversation there. But I think because, Caleb clearly is the best, most impactful player on this team. He's the one that really gets that offense going, and that's the best team. They're going to win this conference by 1 or 2 games, depending on what happens today. I think you have to give it to Caleb. Unless somebody else comes from the second, third place team putting up crazy numbers, which just isn't the case this year.
Well, if the Wildcats win, they will win this conference by 2 games. If they do not win, then it will be 1 game. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get on the program. Let's hear from Caleb Love, who did not necessarily get off to a fast start in the game against UCLA on Thursday, but found his groove as the game went on.
Yeah, I think I rushed my first 2 shots, and then I just had to settle into the game to see, take what the defense was giving me. Keisha was telling me, that it's coming. Just settle into the game. I just, trust my work, and that's what I did.
And then he found his groove in the second half, as we have seen him do that quite a bit for this club. Tommy Lloyd was asked kind of what allows Caleb to get on those runs when he can get on those runs.
The biggest thing that I felt the key was we finally got the bonus. And, which is, hard. UCLA is a really good defensive team. Now you get in the bonus in the physical game, and, you get a few calls, those turn into free throws. And I think that's kind of part of what got Caleb going, and he makes a shot or 2. So, Caleb showed some real patience today. I mean, when you're one of the better players in the league, have a chance to be the league MVP. And, you come out the first year, you're in LA. We talk a lot about that. You're in LA, but it's us. It's our team's adventure. It's not an individual, it's not a me adventure. And so for him to settle into the game the way he did and still play the way, not start good or get numbers early and then, find a way to get good numbers, it's a huge sign of maturity for him. He's a heck of a player and he's a winner.
Yeah, were you concerned at all that, even the way he's been, you might think he's on the
I'm
race
never concerned about Caleb.
Well, just
ever.
That player of the year thing entering this week that he might be looking for a shot.
He's the mature guy. This is a guy who's had the highest of the highs in college basketball and the lowest of the lows. And his experience is invaluable to us, and he's an amazing high character guy that lets us coach him hard every day, and we're honest with him every day. And I love him, and I'm lucky to have him.
Do you think he is? With you guys wrapping this up, do you think he's player of the year for sure?
I don't think there's any doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. He's the player of the year. But I'm more interested. I'm not interested in player of the year, coach of the year. I'm interested in team of the year, and that's what drives us. It's ours, us together. Those are words we use all the time in our program.
And before we get to that, just Caleb Love, he scored 18 points essentially in 10 minutes in that game on Thursday night. He had 12 points at the end of the first half in the final 5.5 minutes. Then he had another 6 in the first 5 minutes of the second half. That's kind of what led to that question. 18 points in a 10-minute stretch is pretty impressive. But again, Tommy Lloyd just kind of reiterating what the mantra has been all year. And I love the way he uses the term ours. These are our shots. This is our thing. Kind of reminds me of the old New Jack City movie. And Nino Brown would say, this is our thing. That's kind of the mentality that this Wildcat club has.
Well, that's important because when it's ours, that means that you want to make sure you make the right play that's best for our team. So if you and even on the defensive end, you want to make sure you cover our basket. So some guy beats his man. No, this is our team. This is our basket. We have to get over and stop it. So the more a coach makes it about the team and not an individual or about himself, right? It's just better for the team. Chemistry and the team to build together. So he's been doing the right thing. A lot of times when it ain't like guys had to chase it. That's what I'm saying. Guys didn't have to chase their position as far as winning the awards this year. So that's the way you wanted to be as a coach. You just wanted to be on your play, not on just we're trying to get you these different awards.
Yeah, I see more potentially great college basketball teams at Arizona and other places fall apart quicker, Kelvin, when finger pointing starts happening. When you're talking about blaming somebody, our plan wasn't great going in, or our guys under the glass didn't do a good enough job getting boards. That's not taking personal responsibility for whatever effect you had in that play as well. So talking about personal responsibility across the board, we, our, us, like that's the only mentality you can have. It's a team game. And obviously awards are individual, but just watch a Tommy Lloyd led team play and you can tell it's all about the team. Those 20 plus assists per game, Kelvin, don't come from one, hotshot point guard. They come from across the board. Right. Whoever's open, you're supposed to shoot because we got you open to take that shot.
And Caleb Love, after the game on Thursday night, talked a little bit about if he's thought about the possibility of being the Pac-12 Player of the Year.
Whatever happens, but, I just give all my credit to my teammates because, they help me and they build me up. Like I said, I'm always grateful for them for taking me in as one. My coaches, they've been there for me since they recruited me out the transfer portal, and so I just give my credit to them because they helped me get to this point.
And Kelvin, you missed the top of the show, but I don't know if you saw it was quite a celebration after the Wildcats won the game on Thursday night.
Yeah, man, I thought they deserved it. This is a mature group. You're not worried about them celebrating and forget about what's at stake, what's at hand. You have guys that have been in championship situations, and I thought they celebrated the way they should. When you make an accomplishment like that, you should remember that. You should feel good about it. But one thing about it, I guarantee you, the seniors and the leaders on this team made sure once you celebrate it right there in that locker room, you leave it right there. You keep that feel good inside of you. So after the season, we'll get a chance to get back to that after we go take care of business, some more business that we have at hand.
Richard Jefferson.
We ain't We can't be stopped now, 'cause this bad boy. Going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped now, 'cause this bad boy for life.
Going back to that Diddy era there, Kelvin.
Oh, man. No, he was crazy. You know, it was fun to see Coach Lloyd right there. He was right there enjoying it, too. He's right there around an eye age, so it's pretty cool, man, to see him in there and enjoying it with the guys. They worked their butt off, so they deserve to celebrate. And then Richard coming in there, Rich coming in there. Oh, man, Rich was on the broadcast, and, I mean, it was just beautiful.
I mean, partisanship just completely went out the window. I don't know what ESPN is doing. ESPN has had Josh Pastner works the U of A game. Richard Jefferson works the U of A game. I mean, back in the day, you couldn't do that. You couldn't put guys that played for programs on their own games. And partisanship went right out the window with Richard Jefferson the other night.
I tell you this, I know what they're doing, DK. You know, ESPN trying to make up a little bit. Right. You know, we have some past history. So, you know, they making up a little bit, and it's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, they had a pretty big hand in that today being the last game ever in this conference. So,
yeah, I don't want to hear anybody ever complaining about the broadcasters and not giving U of A enough love after you had two games in the last 2 weeks with two of your former alumni.
I don't know how dialed in you were, DK, at the time, but when Luke was here, Bill would do a ton of games, and he did the opposite. So Bill would go anti-Arizona while he was in the building actually broadcasting Arizona games that Luke was playing in. Oh, that was a terrible call. You got to box out better on that to prevent the idea of partisanship. He didn't want to come off like he was rooting for his own son playing for the school that he basically rooted for. But Richard Jefferson in the building the other night, he said from the very top, he's like, I'm an Arizona fan today. Mm-hmm. I'm just so you know, listeners, I'm going to be rooting for the Cats this whole game. Deal with it.
DK, and I know you the true professional when it comes to all that right there in that arena, right? And I want to ask, but isn't that real though? Isn't that real? Wasn't that real from Richard? If they would have lost, you know,
real.
And you know what Richard would have said? Well, I'm just saying, I thought that was great TV. I thought it was great TV because I also know, and then people have, and I don't wish this happened, but if we would have been losing, Richard would have been talking the other way.
Right.
He would have been unhappy. He'd have been like, these guys are not playing like Wildcats. This is not the way we play. So he went with the way that the game went. It was a blowout. So he made it even more colorful. If it was closer, I don't think he would have did that.
Yeah.
And I think everybody across the country knows Richard Jefferson, bleeds red and blue. Like Richard Jefferson wears it on his sleeve. He's an Arizona fan, has been since the day he left. So if you're going to put him in that spot, he does mostly pro games, right? So if you're going to put him in that spot and get him in a broadcast crew that's going to do the final UCLA-Arizona game, you think the people who are, behind the scenes directing that stuff didn't know what was coming? I mean, they put him in that chair to be partisan. That was the point.
All right, 520-848-1290 is the number if you want to get in on the conversation as we get set for the season finale. It is the Arizona Wildcats taking on the USC Trojans tonight. We'll get more into our questions of the game. Man, the comments are coming in heavy here. We'll read some more of your comments on whether or not Tommy Lloyd should limit the minutes of his starters tonight with not a whole lot at stake in terms of the record and the seeding and the conference championship in Los Angeles tonight. It's the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
If you're a do-it-yourselfer looking for quality car parts in Tucson, look no further. Advance Auto Parts has 6 Tucson locations with over 75 years in business. Advance Auto Parts is the largest car parts retailer in the U.S., and customers know they can trust their products, like Die-Hard batteries. Now with free installation, only found at Advance Auto Parts stores. Take advantage of our same-day delivery and pickup. Just visit our website at stores.advanceautoparts.com and make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Advance Auto Parts, for all your car repair needs. Now a proud radio sponsor of the University of Arizona Wildcats.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is cooler here, and so pests are seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? University Termite and Pest Control has been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control for the past 50 years. You can too. University Termite and Pest Control. Find us online at bepestfree.com.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. When I need a winning strategy for my team, nothing beats knowledge and skill. That's why I recommend Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for all your home service needs. Having personally witnessed the impact of hard work and dedication, Right Way brings the same commitment to your home's comfort. Whether it's HVAC, plumbing, or electrical, their team always delivers excellence. With a legacy of quality service since 1959, you know you're in good hands. So give your home the best. Choose Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Call or text 520-640-CATS or visit rightwayac.com.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Spring is on its way, and we all know that extreme heat comes next. Right now is the time to get your car or truck road trip ready. And with 14 convenient locations, 6 decades of service, and dozens of top shop awards, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care is the place. This month, get back big rebates on all your favorite major brand tires. Save more on the most affordable, long-lasting tires. Check out jackfurriers.com for details and money-saving coupons. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, here to get you there.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thana Automation.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tipoff Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
You can tell the rebound stripped away and stolen by KJ Lewis, and Arizona with the ball the other way. So Lewis lead down to Ballo, beats the defense, slams it home.
Back here in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, it's the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show, getting you ready for Arizona and USC tonight at the Galen Center in Los Angeles. It is the regular season finale for the Wildcats before they head here to Las Vegas and the Pac-12 Conference tournament next week. They'll be the number 1 seed in that tournament. They'll have a bye, the Wildcats, so they will not play on Wednesday. They'll let the bottom teams duke it out to find out who will advance to take on the top 4 seeds. I'm going to pull up the bracket. I don't think they've updated it here yet because obviously there are still games to play. But at the moment, the 8-9 game is or the 8 and 9 are still Washington and California.
You'd have to do a lot of math is the problem. Because what we're looking at here is Utah, UCLA, Washington, California, and Arizona State are all within a game, and that's from the 5 to the 7 spot.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of movement that's going to happen today.
So we'll kind of keep an eye on that scoreboard. We should have at least pretty much an idea. There'll only be one game left to complete by the time we hit the air, so we should have all the finals in by the time we get off the air tonight. So join us on the Meridian Wealth Management post-game show for that. Our guy Doug in Tucson checks in on the question of the day about, well, really more in terms of how meaningful the number 1 seed is, which the Wildcats are obviously playing for, which would make this an important game because Tennessee lost today, and that is the team that potentially you're competing with for that final number 1 seed. Doug says these probabilities show us why a number 1 seed is historically a much better bet to make the Final Four than the number 2 seed. Number 1 seeds have made the Final Four 41% of the time over the history of the tournament, based on number 2 seeds who have only made the Final Four 22% of the time over the course of the NCAA tournament. So higher probability of reaching the Final Four if you are the number 1 seed.
Yeah, because the top 4 seeds are the best 4 teams in the country. So more likely that those 4 teams will make the Final Four than the teams that aren't the 4 best teams in the country.
It is our question of the day. Should Tommy Lloyd rest his starters with nothing at stake in Los Angeles against the USC Trojans? And by resting, we mean not completely not play them, but maybe just give his bench a little bit more. Our guy Javier Morales over at All Sports Tucson checks in. He says the mentality should be more that the starters take care of business so they don't have to play the entire second half after building a big enough lead. That would be nice.
Just don't change, Kelvin.
Yeah. I hear you. I just, you would hope that, but against a team like what USC is doing, the way those guys are playing right now, they have a lot of pride. This is their last game. This is their senior night, right? So, expect the battle. And I think, our guys do.
Yeah, and that team, guys, was picked second in the preseason poll. So USC was predicted to be the second best team in the conference behind Arizona. They finished 11th in the regular season due to injuries. Guess what? They could still win next week. They could win the title in Vegas. They could go on to the NCAA tournament. You know what they're playing for today, Kelvin? They're playing to be at their best going into next week. They got a lot of work to do in front of them. But, there's a lot of talent on this USC team, and they're not done yet. There's a chance they could win that tournament and go on. One other thing, Kentucky that Tennessee lost to today, guys, is 19th in net. USC is 100 in net. So, again, even though Tennessee lost today to Kentucky, that's a top 20 net ranked team that Tennessee lost to today. USC is not in the top 100. So, regardless of what happens today, if it's a real bad loss, if Arizona loses this game, that's not a bad loss as far as the committee's concerned for the Volunteers today. They lost to a top 20 ranked net ranking team.
Tommy, the UPS guy, checks in on Twitter. He says number 1 seed is at stake. Difference between 1 and 2 might seem minimal, but the possibility of playing a much stronger team in a Sweet 16 matchup and an Elite 8 matchup is a big deal. Gotta win, of course, but all things being equal, tonight's game should be a regular one, in my opinion. Tommy, we appreciate you for checking in as well. All right, let's find out. We'll read a few more of these as we go along. We've got you till for another hour plus coming up on the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show, also brought to you by Dave & Buster's, the best place to eat, drink, and play while watching tonight's game between the Wildcats and the Trojans. Let's find out who that man of Troy might be who gets underneath the Wildcats' skin today.
Who is today's Pest of the Game? The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at BePestFree.com.
All right, Kelvin, we got Boogie Ellis and Isaiah Calio tonight. Didn't have them the last time around. Could it be one of those two guys who gets underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight?
Oh, yeah, man. And I definitely have to go with Isaiah Carrier. And Boogie Ellis, trust me, is a close 1B. But I'm going to go with Isaiah Carrier tonight because I think this is the type of game, again, these guys be using to try to enhance their portfolio, as they say. So, against an Arizona team, a Pac-12 champion team, a team that's going to be a high seed in the tournament, what better game to try to have a great game against a better team?
J-Dub?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question it's got to be Boogie because he's a fifth-year senior, number one. So you're talking about a guy, you're talking about the pest. That's a guy on the other team who could really get their team going and could give fits to the Arizona Wildcats. He had 28 points in 26 minutes last time out, 8 for 12, Kelvin. 8 for 12 versus the Sun Devils for 28 points. That dude, if he gets going and his shot starts falling, he shot 6 for 8 from threes in that game. That could be something that happens today. So I look at the guy who, when shots go down, you could really light a fire to the rest of his teammates. It's Boogie Ellis, 100% for me because, again, fifth-year seniors, experience, been there, done that, a couple years at Memphis, spent the last few years at USC, and he's got something to prove. He's going up against the best backcourt in the conference. Didn't see him last time. That's my pest today, no doubt.
Okay, well, I'm going to go, and I think he's back. He's another guy who played limited minutes in the game in Tucson, but it is senior night at McHale Center. I'm sorry, at the Galen Center, and I'm going to go with Joshua Morgan, the 6'11" forward. I believe he might be one of the few seniors they've got on this team out of Sacramento. He's missed a bunch of games. Like I said, he did not play. He wasn't scheduled to play in the game in Tucson and ended up playing, but only played limited minutes. I had 10 blocks in a game earlier this year. A guy that can definitely protect the rim, one of the best shot blockers in the history of this program. And, again, when you've got senior night, it might just turn into a block party.
Yeah, he played 26 minutes versus the school up north last time out, so I think he's good to go.
Yeah, so I will go with Joshua Morgan as my pest of the game to really show out on his senior night, last game of his career at the Galen Center.
That's today's Pest of the Game. The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Visit BePestFree.com.
Yeah, they got 5 seniors on the roster, DK, but only 3 of them, DJ Rodman, Boogie Ellis, and Joshua Morgan, really are in the rotation.
Yeah. I mean, they've again, it's a team that has not necessarily lived up to its expectations this year, but still a team that, if they get hot, if they find it, is a team to contend with once you really starting tonight. And then once you get into Las Vegas, a win for USC tonight, I mean that would, I mean you would obviously put a burst of energy into them coming into Las Vegas, and within their mind that they might have a shot to create some havoc here. We didn't see any upsets on the women's side in this tournament, but if they could get a win tonight, that might be the precursor for crazy stuff happening here in Las Vegas on the men's side, starting on Wednesday. We've got our girl Amy Burton checks in, guys, on Twitter. She says, "Hey, Coach." I know who Coach is. DK and J-Dub, I was going to ask Coach what he thought, but I was 99% sure he'd say play them to keep the chemistry going. Play on. Let's go Wildcats. Amy, he did indeed say play the starters.
Oh, yeah. Amy, her son Shane Burton played for me for years, so she knows me. She knows me. Trust me. She know I wouldn't play around like that.
No, I mean, Coach Kelvin, as far as like setting up repetitive, practices for your team from day one, you're talking about 6 weeks before the first game. You're talking about setting up stuff that is cozy, right, for those players. You don't want them to have to think too much out there. You want them to be in that pattern, right? And so as far as what happens today on the court, we'll see what happens in the first 10 minutes of the game. But going into it, the mentality that you're going to change anything, Kelvin, from what you've been doing for these last 2-3 months, especially into the heart of the season, I mean, it goes against everything that you're trying to teach as a coach.
And especially Coach Lloyd. If you've been watching him, if you listen to him in the post-game, in his post-game interview, he don't mess around like that. He believe in what he believe in, and that's it.
All right, 2 hours in the books as we get you set for the Arizona Wildcats and the USC Trojans tonight at the Galen Center. One more hour. We'd like to hear from you, 520-848-1290. What are your thoughts on this one? Get in on our poll. Should Tommy limit his starters tonight? That's over at Wildcats1290.com or Wildcats1290, our Twitter page right now. Let me update you real quick on the numbers as they stand before we go to break. It is now up to 89%. 89% saying no, don't rest the starters, don't change a thing.
One real quick thing before we go to break. I just want to say Bronny James. Because last time we did a pregame, we said his name 60 times in the first hour. We haven't even said his name. We're in 2 hours in here. So I had to say his name at least once. Just say his name.
There you go. He was going to be my pest of the game, but then I changed it at the last minute to Joshua Morgan because it's senior night. All right, Kelvin Efon's back in the studio along with J.W. Madden. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Blue Whale Car Wash, Caruso's Italian Restaurant, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, The Diamond Store, Goldberg and Osborne, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Nova Home Loans, Recon Auto Detail, Ride Now Power Sports Tucson, Tucson Police Department.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Explore natural open space, a network of connecting trails, and a community park within the Vail School District. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rock & K with home savings up to $35,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. Live RockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Caruso's, a Tucson tradition since 1938, located on historic 4th Avenue. For 4 generations, Caruso's handmade sauce has been prepared with love by a family member, using only the best ingredients. Enjoy specialty Italian dishes like lasagna al forno, chicken tetrazzini, real Italian sausages, spectacular pizza, as well as many vegetarian options. Caruso's offers outdoor dining on their garden patio, with indoor dining also available. Open Tuesday through Sunday, with all your favorites available for takeout. For more information, call 520-624-5765 or visit their website at carusositalian.com.
Saguaro Harley-Davidson wants your bike. Call or visit our website to schedule an appointment or stop by today to receive an inspection and an offer. Whether you're looking to trade in or trade up or just looking for some extra money, we are prepared to make you a tempting offer. Don't deal with the hassle of selling it to a stranger. We're here to make the process quick and easy. Only at Saguaro Harley-Davidson or online at saguaroharley.com. That's saguaroharley.com. Some restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Frog and Firkin, a standout among the bars and restaurants in the university area. Frog and Firkin does what very few pubs can, combine a festive atmosphere and great beer with a menu that could stand on its own in any restaurant setting. A sports enthusiast dream with over 30 TVs, 30 beers on tap, and over 100 import and domestic bottles. Daily drink and food specials, and the kitchen is serving until 10. A standout in the university area. Frog and Firkin. Eat local, support local. frogandfirkin.com.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball radio broadcast. 2 powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Desperate buyers have created tremendous opportunity for sellers. If you've had the slightest thought of selling your home, it's time to call Sean Poston with the Poston Results Team at Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. Why choose the Poston Results Team? Past performance, more money in your pocket, over a 65% referral rate, an incredible Poston Results Team staff, and most important, communication, because you and your home matter. The Poston Results Team. When buying and selling really matter, go to TucsonHomeValues.com. That's TucsonHomeValues with an S.com.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719-1433 or visit online at Meridian Wealth LLC. And as always, bear down, Tucson.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Pella, drive into the lane, throw it for Ballo, slam it home, and he is fouled. Oh, that was beautiful. Just what Umar needed. He'll go to the line.
Big time alley-oop play there from Pella Larson to Umar Ballo. That connection's been there all year, and Ballo with the two-headed with authority on the finish.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, straight ahead, we'll get into our best bets. Arizona, 7.5-point favorite over Southern California tonight. The over-under on this one is 162. How are you going on that? Jordan Moore is going to join us. He'll call the game tonight for the USC Trojans on radio. And we'll hear his thoughts in our scouting report. Keys to the game and starting lineups are straight ahead. The Wildcats have had just 2 starting lineups this year. I believe the Trojans have had probably about 10 plus this season. So we'll see. But they have kind of gotten back to the norm with the injuries now somewhat past them, with Boogie Ellis and Isaiah Collier both back in the lineup together. All right, our question of the day has been, and we'll read some more of these, and we've got an in-studio guest who wants to chime in on this as well. Should Tommy Lloyd rest his starters tonight with nothing at stake in L.A. against the USC Trojans in terms of the standing and the seeding for the Pac-12 tournament? Not completely rest them, as in not play them at all, but play his bench more extensively. Right now, 89% of the people that have voted on this poll at Wildcats 1290 on our Twitter account say no, don't rest the starters, don't change a thing. Just 11% saying yes, rest the starters, and get ready for the tournament next week. We've got one KJ Ifan in studio with us tonight. He has something he wants to say about this. What's going on, KJ?
I'm one of those 89% of people on Twitter. I voted do not change anything, because if they do not start the best players, they could ruin the
chemistry.
The chemistry, and it can ruin and go on to a downfall in March Madness.
Okay, there you go. I like your thoughts there, KJ. Is there a player on this team that you really enjoy watching?
Caleb Love.
Caleb Love. You think you'll be able to jump like Caleb Love someday?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I heard you made a big play on defense to save the game. Walker, give me the breakdown on how you were able to make that saving flag grab at the end of the game today.
So when I saw he had caught the ball, I was like, I have to chase him down so we can win the game. And I chased him down and got him on the 5-yard line, and that was game.
Awesome. You took the right angle, huh?
Yes.
All right. Your dad coached you up right. Is there another game next week?
Yes.
All right. Well, good luck next week, KJ.
Thank you.
Appreciate you chiming in on our question of the day. Chief Bob checks in. I think winners always should try to win. But if the game is in hand, then sure, rest the starters. Aaron F. says, this is not even a question. Resting players has proven a negative psychological effect on players. It's a trap and a terrible idea. Ask the NFL. Stuart McGee says, not playing the starters would be a disaster with the national poll. Wildcats right now are number 5 in the country, looking to move up because the number 4 team in the country, Tennessee, lost at home today to Kentucky.
DK, you mentioned how many starting lineups. I don't have that information, but I do know this. The starting five that started the season for USC, which is Boogie Ellis, Isaiah Collier, Kobe Johnson, DJ Rodman, and Joshua Morgan, is 9-4 on the season when they start. And they're 6-2 in Pac-12 games. And their 2 losses, they lost by 3 points to Washington State, and they lost in overtime to Colorado. So this team, with this starting lineup, is more or less 2 plays away from being undefeated in conference play. Wow. So this is not the USC team that you're looking at that record. That's a misnomer. Don't look at USC's record on the season and think that's who you're seeing today. This starting lineup has been very successful, 9-4 on the season for this 5.
Very impressive. Very impressive ball club again that the Wildcats are going to be facing here. And it goes, like I said, there's a lot of guys on this team, a number of guys who can play at the next level. And the kind of team that if they find that spark here down the stretch, could make a run in Las Vegas. If you were looking for that underdog, if there was a team maybe in that bottom 6 that you think can make a run, I would think, guys, that USC is at the top of that. If you're looking at the bottom 6, so USC's maybe the top in that bottom 6 of teams that could make a run here in Las Vegas next week.
Well, they got the guard play. They have the guard talent. I mean, and then they have bigs that can protect the rim and rebounds and athletes all over the place in that starting lineup. So these guys are going to be interesting to see how they play. And I don't think it's going to affect them having an extra game. I think the extra game is actually going to help them, being that they haven't had many games together lately.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, again, you talk about senior guard, Boogie Ellis alone, Kelvin. I mean, I've seen a lot of Boogie Ellis's over the years throughout the history of watching the tournament, just to kind of take matters on their own hands. We saw Kemba do it. We saw Steph do it, right? I mean, if you're a scoring 2-guard with experience at this level, that's scary, and everybody else can feed off of that. My big thing with USC is their rebounding. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in the conference, so you got to have – that team's got to make outside shots to win, but – DK, if I'm an opponent, if I'm one of those other 10 teams not outside of Arizona looking at the schedule and potentially matching up with the Trojans next week in Vegas, that's a scary proposition because, as you said, they got a lot to play for and they got a lot of talent. So, yeah, USC definitely one of the teams to watch going into that tournament in Vegas.
KJ Lewis coming off his top scoring performance, season high 18 points in 22 minutes against UCLA on Thursday night. And after the game, Tommy Lloyd talking about his freshman and the fact that he had a conversation with KJ last week about his expectations for the young man through the remainder of the season.
I mean, I just talked about it this week. I said, KJ, you know, we were talking about the seasons and how they go, and I said that, UCLA game in the second half, we couldn't get you off the floor. I mean, you're super valuable, and some days it's going to be your day, some days it's not, but that's the guy you are, and when you're on the court, make sure you play like that, and don't worry about anything else.
Did you ever see like a freshman wall with him this year, or has he been pretty consistent?
No, that kid has no wall. I mean, from the first day he stepped on campus, he's played with tremendous effort till now, so he's been awesome.
No wall for KJ Lewis. He needs just 2 steals tonight to reach the top 10 by a freshman in Arizona history. Comes in averaging 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per ball game. Also very good at taking care of the basketball at almost 2.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. The youngster out of El Paso, but who spent some time as a child growing up here in Tucson. A very key piece to this Arizona Wildcats team moving forward. Again, we continue to want to see those guys off the bench play well as we get ready to make what will be the 3rd run for Tommy Lloyd in the NCAA tournament. Final night in Los Angeles for this Arizona Wildcats men's basketball program. It is a series against USC that they have dominated. They have not lost a game to the Trojans since Tommy Lloyd got to town, 5-0, and they lead the all-time series over USC by almost 30 games. So it's a series that obviously has been completely dominated since the Wildcats got to the Pac-10, pretty much by Arizona, which lends to the possibility that will continue tonight, and Tommy will make it 6-0 against the Trojans and get an LA sweep. And going in, guys, when we talked about that last week, how tough this particular trip can be, it's never easy to get a sweep in Los Angeles, but the Wildcats have a chance to really cement home tonight what has been a fabulous road turnaround in the second half of this Pac-12 campaign.
And you said it. There you go, DK. You gave another reason why this group of Wildcats, more incentive for them to win, right? To get the last sweep of the Pac-12. See, this is all bulletin board stuff that coaches put up there just to, to give. And you've been hearing Keyshawn especially. He's been regurgitating a lot of those things. When you saw, he said, you look up in the rafters at UCLA at Poly Pavilion and you see Bill Walton and you see these names and you have to take care of business. If you go look back to a lot of the interviews you've played this year, he's been regurgitating those things. So I just feel like that just more motivation to beat them on their senior night. You're playing Boogie Ellis and them. I just think there's a lot of reasons to be motivated for this game today.
Speaking of extra motivation, Kelvin, at Stanford, at Washington State, and at Corvallis, right? Yeah. So as far as road struggles go, those 3 games, Kelvin, no disrespect to the Cardinals' history, they've been great historically. Oregon State's had historical good teams, won a lot of conference championships in the 80s. But those 3 environments, Kelvin, going in there and the juice in the building, you've been talking about it all season long. When Arizona goes into a building against a rival or against a fan base that's full-throated and yelling at them, they play up to that, right? And so they're not going to have any kind of, that original situation in Corvallis early, especially. They had to come and match what the Beavers were doing, right? And so, like, now you're talking about going to the final game in the Galen, final game in Pac-12, first time you're matched up against, these 2 great guards. I think there's a lot of reasons for this team to come in and be motivated for this game.
And Braun was in the house yesterday, the other night, so I wonder would he be there tonight? And so another motivation, because the guys want to play well in front of Braun.
No question about that. No question about that.
I don't see Los Angeles on the schedule today, so.
There you go.
There you go. I'm sure he'll be there tonight for sure. We're talking about, obviously, the fact that Boogie Ellis and Isaiah Collier did not play the last time around, and where they are now in terms of getting ready for this Pac-12 tournament, a tournament that they're going to have to win to get into the NCAA tournament. So you got to believe that the mindset for USC is that their postseason starts tonight. And that's what
Coach really emphasized our marches now. So we just got to do it, prepare ourselves now. We act like we're in the tournament now. So we got to win every game. So we know that when we get to the Pac-12 tournament, there's no room for error, not a little error. We got to go figure out how to win games and take it one game at a time. So right now we're just in that mindset as it's March.
And interestingly enough, Boogie Ellis this week added that for the Trojans to win this game tonight, they've got to play a lot like Arizona in terms of making sure that they get, and he and Isaiah Collier both get their teammates involved.
This year we've won a lot of games with multiple, high assist games. I felt like 18 assists is really good for us. That's above our goal, but I feel like if we do that, we just got to continue to build on that. I feel like when we move the ball like that, get out and transition, everybody eats.
So what's the key to stopping that, guys?
I think the key to stopping it is you have to be there on the catch on these guys. You have to have your guy. You can't let them get going in transition, I believe, and getting the easy buckets and the rebound, pass back out for the threes. It's just about being locked in, and then you got to go at them.
Yeah.
You have to force them to play defense as well.
I think all those things, and I think to me, my biggest key is keep your man in front of you, because you're talking about guys who like to get by their man, get their shoulder by them. And when you get that shoulder by, defense has to step up, DK. And when that happens, that leads to open threes in the corner or cutters going to the lane. So when you got to have extra defensive attention because it's just a simple one-on-one guard gets past guard, be strong on ball defense and keep those guys from getting by you, and that will limit their, because Arizona is playing such good team defense right now. They got a lot of good individual defenders, but so key is keeping those guys out of the lane. You keep the guards from driving, and you're going to cut down those assists.
Andy Enfield asked this week about what's facing his USC Trojan team and the fact that their only way in is to come to Las Vegas and run the table.
Well, we concentrate on Saturday, our last home game on senior night, and a lot of managers that mean a lot to our program, a few players, and then we'll get ready for Vegas on Sunday. So we're excited. It's an exciting time of the year, and then also our team is playing well, and I think our guys have a confidence about them, and we haven't even talked about next week yet. We're just trying to focus on tonight, and then we'll go play top 10 team in the country on Saturday at home.
There you go. We've got the call of it for you coming up 8 o'clock here with Brian Jeffries and Reggie Geary. All right, let's find out if we can win some money on this game tonight.
Just give me a second.
7.5 is the line for U of A in this contest, and the over-under is 162. Wildcats have been rolling through that line this year, as well as the over-under. And this is Desert Diamond Casino. This is what it looks like over at the Sportsbook.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, guys, -7 U of A. What do you say?
Yeah, sure. Arizona wins by 8, 10. Arizona wins by 10.
J-Dub says, I'm laying that number.
Yeah, I'm laying it as well. I feel like Arizona wins this game. I think they want to, again, beat those guys on senior night.
All right. Everybody's going to lay the number because I'm laying it as well. 7.5 minus Arizona for that win tonight at the Galen Center. Over-under is 162. J-Dub.
Yeah, over. I think the way that the Trojans have been playing lately, they've been putting the ball in the hoop. So, yeah, I think Arizona's not going to be slowed down. Trojans aren't a great defensive team. I could see that number being closer to like 170, 175.
Calvin?
Yeah, I agree. Over as well. I want some movement, but, got to go with what I believe.
All right. Well, there won't be any movement tonight. DK's going to remain on top because I'm taking the over, too. Everybody's laying the number at 7.5 and taking the over at 162. Those are your best bets.
Those are today's best bets. They are brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, let's hear from Danny. Danny, you're on the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show, Arizona Wildcats and USC on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. As always, I love to listen to the insight. And, I always love your show. Geez, I was on the golf course a couple of weeks ago and got some guy listening to it when you guys came on. I said, here, you start listening to this, dude. And I think he is, because we played with us again.
Awesome.
Hey, I'm going to give you my technical, Kelvin, I'm going to give you my technical feeling about the game. USC sucks. Okay?
Okay.
That's what, let's be real. Okay, this guard, and we got to front him. Okay, that's all great. First of all, I don't go to the Pac-12 tournament, JW, you know that, because I can't go everywhere. And moving forward, and then let me come back to this game, we're going to be a 2 in the West unless we get drilled here and lose in the first round of the Pac-12 tournament. The worst will be is a 2 in the West, so we'll see you at the pond, or they call it the Toyota Center or whatever. But here's how I really feel. I want us to get Washington State in the Pac-12 championship for a motivator to get to the tournament and to be on fire. When I talk to my friends, I say this. If we get to the first weekend of the tournament, the real tournament, we're going to be dangerous. And I'd like to know, what do you think of that, Kelvin? I think no matter who the opponents are, if we get through those first 2 should be no problem games, we're going to be tough.
I agree with you because if you get through that first game, man, it's just different. I went to a Sweet 16. The next year they won the championship.
Yeah.
But we got through that first game up in actually we were in Phoenix. I mean, we was on the West Coast, so we got a pretty good seed.
I was with you, man. I was right there.
I know. I'm sure.
You don't remember?
I'm sure.
All right. Go on.
Up there at ASU, we was up at our home. We was up at our home stadium up there, our home arena, up in Phoenix. But yeah, I think that if these guys could play well and get over that first game, you know how we kind of had some history with first games, right? But I feel like if we get over that first game, these guys got a chance to make a run.
I feel like what happened in 1993 has nothing to do with 2024. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I get that the fan base is upset with first-round losses. I don't think that has any correlation whatsoever to this team. I think the thing about it is those matchups early. What you're talking about, Danny, is those first- and second-round matchups are oftentimes against box and ones, 2-3 matchups, Kelvin. You're talking about some junk defenses because the teams that you're going to play as a 1 or 2 seed early in the first and second rounds are not going to be able to match up with you physically and have the kind of NBA level talent. So they're going to throw some junk you might not have seen before, which is what we've seen in the past. So that's the big key is what kind of style you get and how you match up with them and what your game plan is going in.
And see, and I love that. And here's my thought. Let's look back 2 years ago, Tommy's first season. We got by Houston when they punched us in the mouth. And then TCU punched us in the mouth. And I think he went out and I think we're a lot tougher right now as far as toughness than we were then. Now, when I look at tonight's game, like, I went pretty good on the UCLA game. I went pretty good before the game, and I stepped up at halftime and gave them 15.5 too. Because remember, we weren't shooting that well, right? The first 7, 8, 9 minutes of the first half, we were shooting 39, 40%. And I'm watching the game with friends, and I said, all we got to do is shoot, and we're going to bury these clowns. But tonight, I took the under. I played the over, but I'm not giving the points. I mean, I just can't. And it's not like who's a better team. We are by far a better team, right? I can't play it as a gambler. I can't bet on my Cats tonight. I just won't because I'm afraid.
Wow.
But you know what? Let's say we lose. VFD.
So you started this by saying USC sucks, Danny, and now you're saying that they don't suck enough to maybe beat them?
I'm saying we've proven it 4 or 5 times this year that we play down to our opponents and lose a game we shouldn't lose.
That's true.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think USC's down, though. I mean, because the way they've been playing with Boogie and Collison back in the lineup, I mean, like I said, that team is 6-2 and 2 plays away from being 8-0 with this starting lineup in the conference.
And I also believe
I'm with you.
And this is what I'm saying. I just feel like they've done a better job. Because I always worried. If you go back and listen to every time I ever been on here, I always worried. I was on teams where if the name wasn't the right name on the front of the jersey, you might not come with all of the energy for that game. But I felt like these teams took a couple early losses on the road to some teams, and then they started I started hearing these guys coming up with reasons to make the games important.
You heard KJ say it. He's like, I don't think we took those guys as seriously as we should have. He said that on the Monday after the game, and like you don't hear players say that.
And I love that. And so my last thing just to say is, I love you guys, and I don't necessarily think we're going to lose. Right. I just think that my money can't go on this game.
Right.
That's all.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, Thursday night, for what I do, I pounded that game. And I was a little worried the first 6-8 minutes. And I'm looking at the box score on ESPN every play, going to stats, going to players, who's got fouls. And I'm like, all we got to do is shoot. And guess what? We started shooting. So, no, you guys know, JW especially know the most, and Kelvin, because you've been around. I've talked to you longer. David, we still love the 2 guys from Wisconsin coming out, Jill and Jack, remember, out of the Marriott with their matching sweatshirts. But I'm as diehard as it comes. I have one team in one sport, and this is it. And when we're in L.A., in the West region, I'll be there. I love you guys. Go Cats. BTFD.
Bear down. Bear down, Danny.
Thanks for having me on.
Danny, we appreciate and love you as well. All right. It is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show. Jordan Moore is going to join us next. He'll call the game tonight for the USC Trojans. He'll have your scouting report. With Calvin Ifan and J.W. Madden in Tucson, I'm David Kelly coming to you from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, First Choice Pools, The Good Feet Store, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Ram Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Right Way Heating, Cooling and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community Design by Nature, University Termite and Pest Control.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 30 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees, bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including 5 in Tucson and Southern Arizona, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 1,800 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after any accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Frog and Firkin, a standout among the bars and restaurants in the University area. Frog and Firkin does what very few pubs can, combine a festive atmosphere and great beer with a menu that could stand on its own in any restaurant setting. A sports enthusiast dream with over 30 TVs, 30 beers on tap, and over 100 import and domestic bottles. Daily drink and food specials, and the kitchen is serving until 10. A standout in the University area. Frog and Firkin. Eat local, support local. frogandfirkin.com.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is cooler here, and so pests are seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? University Termite and Pest Control has been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control for the past 50 years. You can too. University Termite and Pest Control. Find us online at bepestfree.com.
You know it. Your neighbors know it. And let's face it, the mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be. But thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was. And even better, Dorado Rock Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
At Nova Home Loans, we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to enjoy the independence that comes with home ownership. Whether you're a first-time home buyer who needs down payment assistance, have less than perfect credit, or looking to refinance, Nova has a variety of home loan programs for your unique situation. Visit NovaHomeLoans.com or call 800-955-9125 to learn more. Not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Rates and available loan programs are subject to change without notice. NMLS 3087, BK 0902429, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Here's Ellis weaving his way down right of the lane. Fadeaway is up and good. Boogie Ellis, he's been on fire, and he's got 7 points.
Our 1290 scouting report is brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double.
And we're pleased to be joined now by the play-by-play man for the USC Trojans. His name is Jordan Moore. It is your scouting report for today's game. And Jordan, obviously this has not been the year that the Trojans thought it was going to be coming in. A lot of injuries obviously derailed some of the hopes that Andy Enfield had for this club. But what else, though, has not gone right in your mind for the Trojans that this season did not end the way that it had been hoped at the beginning?
Yeah, for sure. It certainly has been a bad luck season. It started with, Brownie's cardiac issue in the summer, and then, just a real struggle getting continuity out there. 12 different starting lineups. Their best starting 5 is 9-4 when they start together, and 6-2 in Pac-12 games. But as you can hear, that's not most of the season. So it's certainly been an issue. They're playing better of late. But the bigger picture things for the Trojans, the front court has not been very good. They really get very little production out of it. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. And then defensively, it has not been a vintage Andy Enfield team. This program has been really good and made the tournament in recent years because they tend to be pretty elite defensively, holding teams to a low defensive field goal percentage. And this group has really been a much better offensive team than they have been on the defensive side.
Was that kind of maybe did he think this was going to be a team that might struggle to pick it up on the defensive side in the beginning?
You return to all league defenders in Kobe Johnson and Joshua Morgan. So I think there was some, certainly some hope there on the defensive side. But last year's team was not a very good rebounding team, and this year's team did not. They lost their number one rebounder, Drew Peterson. So from last year. So I think they knew right from the start rebounding was going to be an issue. I think Isaiah Collier is a tremendous offensive player. It has been an adjustment for him for sure at the defensive end. So that's been an issue. And then just getting sort of defenses and continuity sort of go hand in hand. Can guys play together? And when you are not practicing a lot because of injuries, and when you are changing lineups constantly, I think they've lacked that continuity.
Yeah, this is obviously a much different team than what the Wildcats saw here in Tucson when both Boogie and Isaiah didn't play. Let's start with Boogie Ellis. Obviously a tremendous offensive talent. What's kind of been fun about watching his development in this program over the last few years?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's as good as any shooter, maybe in the history of the program. So certainly starting there are nights when he just locks in from three. And he can win you a game. We basically did it the other night against Arizona State, made 6 of 8 from 3 and had 28 points. And that's pretty much why the Trojans won that one. And it's certainly been the case in the past with Boogie as well. He's developed just as a kid, as a man, as a leader, as a captain. That's the fun part. He came in, didn't have a great time of it in Memphis. And so I think sort of transitioning over to a winning program and getting into USC's culture took some time for him, but was ultimately really good for him. He's a 2-time captain now, stayed the extra year when he certainly didn't have to, and is just a good leader and someone for the young guys to model after, particularly in terms of work ethic. Boogie may not be the most vocal leader, but he works as hard as anybody out there, and that's certainly great for the young guys to follow.
All right, Jordan. As I mentioned before the show, I'm a USC alum myself. I want to ask you about the comment you just made, saying that Boogie is probably, if not the best shooter, maybe in school history. I'm a little older than you. I go back to a guy by the name of Harold Miner. I know you didn't maybe necessarily see Harold play, but do you think that Boogie is a better shooter than Harold?
Well, he's not as good a scorer as Harold. That's right around when I started it. Harold was a much bigger player and an incredible scorer, the best scorer in USC history, undoubtedly. Although I guess DeMar takes the crown from an NBA side. But Harold, was an incredible leaper too. But just in terms of pure shooting ability, I mean, I think if Harold and Boogie were in a 3-point shooting contest, my money's on Boogie. I'm not sure that there's many, if any, guys that could beat Boogie in a 3-point shooting contest that have put the USC jersey on.
Jordan Moore is our guest. He's the play-by-play man for the USC Trojans. He is giving you your scouting report today, brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double. Obviously, DJ Rodman was a kid that came in and transferred into this program from Washington State. How has that transition gone this season?
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing where it's been a transition. I don't think that he fit in seamlessly on the court. He's a great kid and fit in off the court, but on the court, I think it took him a while to find his place. So part of the reason the Trojans are playing better basketball now is guys like DJ are playing much, much better and understand their role much more so than they did in the first half of the season. So, DJ is really a catch-and-shoot 3-point shooter. He's the best offensive rebounder on this team. He is a good team defender, a guy that loves to take a charge, and a good glue guy. So, when he's playing with a lot of energy, he can infuse that into his teammates, and that's what they need from DJ. And of late, he has been given that consistently, and has basically become a double-digit scorer here over the last 10 games.
Jordan, obviously this has been a lot of spotlight on this program with the arrival of Bronny James, and you mentioned obviously the heart situation he went through in the offseason and then came back, got his first start, I believe it was here in Tucson against the Wildcats the last time around. He was booed mercifully by the Zona Zoo. That surprised me because I go back to, we used to boo guys that we actually didn't like. I don't know that Bronny is an unlikable kid. Has that happened in a lot of places as you guys have traveled across the Pac-12 and across the country this year?
It has. I agree with you. I'm not entirely sure the kids even know why they're booing him. I think that they're just sort of – it's funny because attendance is way up everywhere we go, and it's because of him. So they're there to see him, but then there to heckle him and boo him and try to get under his skin. So he's certainly used to it. I think it happened as well in high school for him. So, I'm not entirely sure what the source of the booing is because he's a really good kid and certainly not somebody who's even been here long enough to do anything to offend the Zona Zoo or any student section around the country. But, it's just college and everyone's having a good time, I guess.
It's interesting. We do the show here with an Arizona alum, Kelvin Efon. He believes that Bronny is an NBA player just because of all the intangible things that he can do. Kind of brings it from a perspective that he was never brought up to be like that go-to scorer, but he can do so many other things well. What is your assessment? Obviously, there's a lot of talk about whether or not he's got a future in the NBA. I mean, LeBron had said that was his one goal, was he wanted to play with his son. What do you see as a guy that's watched every single game?
Yeah, I think he can be ultimately. To me, it just always comes down to the timeline. And so, to me, everyone's always trying to rush everything nowadays. And he's a freshman. He looks like a freshman guard to me. He is, strong and bouncy. I like his shooting stroke, even though his shooting numbers haven't been that great this year. He really is, as you said, a team player. He likes to make the extra pass. He likes to take a charge. He's somebody that they put out there in defense situations, as a little bit of a defensive specialist at times. So when he did have a lot of minutes, he was racking up assists. Now sort of just coming off the bench, he's kind of just bringing energy. So, that's kind of who he is right now. And, 2, 3, 4 years, yeah. I do think he could become, an elite college player and then ultimately a pro player. But his development timeline is, and his whole story is just different than everybody else. So it's sort of going to be what it's going to be, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to consult me.
Jordan Moore is our guest. He is the play-by-play man for the USC Trojans. It's today's scouting report brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double. This is a program, Jordan, at USC that's had a lot of success under the Andy Enfield era. I mean, let's face it, USC has never been known as a basketball school. There's still people that believe maybe, though, that this success that he's had is not good enough. What do you say to those people that maybe say that Andy maybe hasn't been the coach that Trojan faithful thought he was going to be?
Yeah, I think so much of life is about expectations, right? And so, you look at a situation in Arizona where Tommy Lloyd's running off conference titles and conference tournament titles and winning a ton of games, but not having success in the NCAA tournament. And so, people get upset because those are the expectations at Arizona, that you need to make Final Fours, that you need to compete for national championships. USC, it's the same kind of thing. Andy Enfield's running off 20-win seasons. He's would have been 4 straight tournaments if not for COVID, but 3 straight tournaments coming into this season. But there's people now that want him to get to the second week more often. He's had the one run to the Elite Eight. So, he has, credit to him, he has raised his own expectations, basically. When he came in, it was a total rebuild, tear it down. So his overall record is sort of affected by the fact that those first 2 years were truly terrible as he built the thing from the ground up. But since then, it's been very consistent. Obviously this year being, a bit of an outlier, and so it puts some pressure on there. But ultimately, the next step for this program is consistently trying to be a second week of the tournament kind of team. Certainly doesn't look like they're going to get there this year, barring quite a run in Las Vegas next week. But they have recruited well, and so sort of every year brings new talent, and you would think, another chance to keep pushing it forward. But that clearly is the next step for the program.
Chatting with USC play-by-play man Jordan Moore. Jordan, we mentioned Bronny's obviously cardiac arrest situation. Vincent Iwuchukwu had the same thing last year. How has his return gone from that this season?
Yeah, Vince, I think the thing I feel bad for Vince for, he also had a back issue. So, he missed most of his freshman season with the cardiac problem, and then ended up having back surgery in this off season and missed all of training camp and all of the summer. And so that's sort of what I'm talking about when you talk about the issues that this team has had is, just a lot of guys did not have the kind of build up to the season that you would have wanted. And so Vince is now, played 2 years at USC and has never had an off season. And he is a pretty raw player. So he is a guy that would benefit from an off season. He has some nice physical tools, 7 feet, can't teach that, and athletic ability, and some soft hands, at least in terms of a shooting stroke. So, he has some of the tools that you'd want. That's why he was initially a 5-star recruit, but he needs an off season to play a lot of basketball and to come into a season more finely tuned than what we've seen, and that would really help USC going into next season.
Have you had a chance to hold any court with LeBron James?
I haven't spoken to him, no, but he sits across from me at the game, so I've certainly seen plenty of him. The family's incredibly supportive. I mean, LeBron, I think, has made it to every game that has been humanly possible for him to do so, and Savannah, Bronny's mom, is at almost every single game. I mean, they were even down in Alabama with us.
They were in Tucson.
Yeah. So it's they obviously have the means to maybe make some travel things happen that not everybody can, but they incredibly supportive family, and Bronny's just such a good kid. I mean, just clearly really well raised, and credit to his family.
And Jordan, as you look at this game today between Arizona and USC, what are the keys to a Trojan victory?
Well, I mean, USC's got to try to find a way to make one of these games a dogfight with Arizona. I mean, Arizona is a pretty team. I mean, they can really run numbers up on you in a hurry. And the last, 4 or 5 games, Arizona, no one's even made it a single-digit game against them. They're just starting to blow teams out, and that's been the issue for USC in the Tommy Lloyd era, both against Tommy Lloyd and when the Trojans have played Gonzaga with Mark Few. I just think USC has really had a tough time slowing down this offensive system that the two of them play. So, I think for the Trojans, they have to get out to a good start in this game. They have to be making shots early on in the game, put a little bit of game pressure on Arizona, so it's not just so free flowing, and that beautiful basketball that they like to play at the offensive end. If they can muck it up and make it a close game late, then I have seen Arizona struggle at times with shot selection late in games. I think Caleb Love is a very similar player to Boogie Ellis in that they kind of rely on their jump shots. And so, that 30-foot three that goes down, it's a little hard to do in the last few minutes of a game. So if the Trojans can push it to that point, then you start testing Arizona, which has lost some games this year when it's come down to that. But you got to get them to that. And for the Trojans, that's going to mean locking in defensively, rebounding the basketball, not turning it over, and making a lot of shots.
And Jordan, real quick, I've been out in Las Vegas at covering the women's basketball tournament this past week. What's kind of been fun about watching this quick ascension back by that program under the tutelage of Lindsey Gottlieb and with the emergence of a star in Juju Watkins?
Yeah, everything. Honestly, it's such a long time coming. I mean, USC has not been really good in women's basketball for 30 years. So it is really a breath of fresh air what Lindsey Gottlieb has brought in, and Juju is a phenomenon. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to put it. You guys got to see it firsthand, just some incredible games. The double overtime game against Arizona last week in Tucson was one of the best games I've watched all season, and the women of Troy actually did well to win that once Juju had fouled out, and they played another dogfight in Vegas. And then USC last night won in double overtime in the Pac-12 semifinals. So yeah, she's tough. She's just special. I mean, honestly, there's just a few athletes that just have the kind of ability that she appears to possess, and seems to really be ready to take that crown from Caitlin Clark as the Trojans move to the Big Ten. I think she's about to hit the national spotlight, and I think she's about to be one of the biggest stars in the women's game.
Jordan, hey, we appreciate you taking some moments to join us today. Have a great call on this one, Arizona USC.
Thanks so much. Can't wait.
Jordan Moore, the announcer for the USC Trojans, with your scouting report.
That's today's 1290 Scouting Report, brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic offers military discounts to retired and disabled veterans. And they now accept patients with Access Insurance. For more information and to find the location nearest you, visit firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Spring is on its way, and we all know that extreme heat comes next. Right now is the time to get your car or truck road trip ready. And with 14 convenient locations, 6 decades of service, and dozens of top shop awards, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care is the place. This month, get back big rebates on all your favorite major brand tires. Save more on the most affordable, long-lasting tires. Check out jackfurriers.com for details and money-saving coupons. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, here to get you there.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet? Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Hit the community trails, explore local parks like Saguaro National and Colossal Cave, and mingle at private Diamond Community Park events. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rock & K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 11 different model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in-ready homes and special incentives. Live RockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Autumn Nation.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information.
This just in, Goodfellas AC is matching up to $2,000 on federal tax credit.
Whoa, seriously? This is unbelievable. I gotta call Floyd at Goodfellas.
Hello, Goodfellas. Floyd speaking.
Is it true about the $2,000?
It sure is. Homeowners like you may qualify for a 30% federal tax credit up to $2,000 on qualifying heat pumps. And Goodfellas will match the tax credit dollar for dollar up to $2,000. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290. Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, final segment of the show as we get you set for Arizona and USC. Our poll has taken off. We'll get back to that. The Trolls got a hold of it, so they have bumped us up to almost 330 votes. Thank you, Trolls. We appreciate you. We love Trolls. Keys to the game, guys. We'll start with J-Dub.
Real simple. Limit the two guards, those two guys we've been talking about all day. I'd like to see less than 30 from Boogie and Carlson. Also, dominate the boards. Not a good rebounding team for the Trojans. Plus 10 at least. And Ballo for one simple reason, DK. They don't play a center. USC does not have a center on that roster. DJ Rodman is about 8 inches shorter than Umar Ballo. Joshua Morgan's given up about 40 pounds to Umar Ballo. You got to punish them for that. Go inside early, go inside often. Feed the big man. Those are my keys.
Kelvin.
I believe we have to limit the 3-point. We have to limit the 3-point shots for USC. They're very capable of going off from three. I agree with J-Dub. You have to dominate the defensive boards. You cannot allow rebound, kick out for threes. I think we have to really watch for that. And I think the bench has to continue to bring it tonight, scoring the ball. I think they need to meet or exceed the USC's scoring off the bench.
All right, my number one key is don't get anyone hurt tonight going into the postseason. For sure, SC is a team that does not necessarily rebound the ball well, so I agree with J-Dub on that. You got to dominate the boards in this game, and you got to defend the three-point line because that's really the only way they're going to beat you is if they can start knocking down threes and outside long jumpers as well. One of my USC brethren sent me a text and said the only way UCLA or USC wins this game tonight is if Arizona went out and got drunk for 2 days. So there you go. Those are our keys to the game.
Wildcats fans, that's our keys to the game. Brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, I want to read a few of these comments. First of all, we'll update the poll real quick up to 330 votes. So right now, 88% of the people saying no, Tommy Lloyd should not change his starting lineup. Don't mess with it. Don't do anything crazy like that. So still 12% saying yes, you should rest the starters. We got a lot of funny ones here so far on this. TJ Wilmore checks in. Can't believe they even posted such a stupid question, says TJ. M. Strom 28. You're joking, right? Some really good stuff here coming in on our question of the day right now. Let me give you one more of these from Aaron F. Dan Winston called it a terrible take. RWB Wildcat, don't tempt fate. Go outside, turn to the right 3 times while saying bear down. So we appreciate everybody that chimed in on our poll. It'll be up there for a little while, so you have another hour to get in before the game, and we'll read some more of those as well on the air. All right, let's tell you who's starting tonight for the Wildcats.
The foundation of a great college basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rockin' K, a master plan community designed by nature.
All right. Arizona's starting lineup has not changed much this season whatsoever. At one guard, it's going to be Kylan Boswell, 6'2 sophomore out of Champaign, Illinois, 10 of 14 from 3 in his last 3 games. Caleb Love, 6'4", senior out of St. Louis, Missouri. He needs just 1 3-point field goal to be 10th all-time for U of A in a single season. Pelle Larsson, 6'5", senior out of Nacka, Sweden. Pelle in his last 4 games averaging 16 points, 5 assists, while shooting 50% from three-point land. Keyshawn Johnson, a forward, 6'7", fifth-year senior out of Oakland, California. He has 27 threes this year. He had 28 in his previous 4 at San Diego State. And the man in the middle, Umar Balo, 7-foot redshirt senior out of Kulakoro, Mali, 10th nationally, 10th in the nation he is in field goal percentage at 63%. That's going to wrap up our coverage tonight here from Las Vegas, at least on the pregame show side. Thanks to everybody that was with us, Reggie Geary, Jordan Moore, J.W. Madden, Kelvin Ifan. Most of all, thanks to you for listening. Coming up next, the season finale, the regular season finale. It's the number 5 Arizona Wildcats and the USC Trojans. Brian Jeffries, Reggie Geary have the call from Galen Center. Coming up next, you're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, First Choice Pools, The Good Feet Store, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Ram Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Right Way Heating, Cooling and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community Designed by Nature, University Termite and Pest Control.
I'm a big believer in investing into what the wealthiest people in the world invest into. But it's not easy to know exactly what that is, and it hasn't always been possible for regular folks like you and I. But that's changing. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and if you've done a good job acquiring some assets, now is the time to consider private equity. Private equity is ownership of private companies that aren't traded on the stock market and in most cases are very exclusive. Examples could include ownership of apartments or nursing homes, dental practices, solar farms, you name it. Why do so many billionaires invest into private equity? Because of historically low correlation to the stock market and historically higher returns. If you have a goal with